The Formula One scene comes to Europe for the San Marino Grand Prix at Imola in Italy. But it's a very different scene here. Different type of circuit, different weather conditions. It's overcast at the moment and rain is threatening. But like Brazil, McLaren have dominated practice here at Imola. Prost won easily in Rio in the brand new McLaren Honda, so every other team has been trying to close the gap. But here in Italy, the gap is even bigger. The two McLarens crushingly dominating practice. Ayrton Senna, his second pole of the year, ahead of his teammate, double world champion Alain Prost, and an astounding 3.3 seconds faster than the third man, Nelson Piquet. So it looks like a McLaren whitewash, but who knows? As ever, though, here at Imola, there's been plenty happening in the pit lane. Last year, the British Tyrrell team won both 3.5-litre World Championships. So, for this year, they produced a new, and they thought, improved car. But at Brazil, it turned out to be not improved at all.
The problem was that the car was too slow by about 3 seconds a lap. It was difficult to drive. It didn't have enough grip for the amount of drag it had in a straight line. You know, we can always pile on more wing to get more grip, but then you go slower down the straight. We've actually increased the wheelbase of the car by putting in an 8-inch spacer, you can see there, between the engine and gearbox, and that's had a beneficial effect too, making the car a little bit quicker and a little bit easier to drive.
Well, you've driven it at Imola. Is it better? Is it good enough?
It's not good enough, no, but it is better.
For the financially strapped little Italian Osella team, Imola was a disaster before practice even began, because when the car was scrutineered, it was excluded because the engine mounting points had been changed, as a result of which the regulations had been flouted. So, at Imola, no Osella. These are the very pretty and effective 3.5-litre Lolas, but there's a popular fixture missing from the Lola garage here at San Marino, Australian designer Ralph Bellamy, who has left the team. And his place is now being taken by the boss man at Lola, Eric Broadley himself. This distinctive feature, a humped back, is on a brand new car in the pit lane, the beautifully constructed Italian Dallara with a 3.5-litre Ford DFZ engine. The Ligier team are already having a season they'd rather forget. They produced an entirely new car for 1988, and a revolutionary one at that. But it has given major handling problems. So they have redesigned the rear suspension, but it's clear that the problem is in the aerodynamics area, and it's back to the wind tunnel. Well, a disheartened Ligier team have sadly got even more time for that wind tunnel work than they thought, because neither Arnoux nor Johansson have qualified, nor have Larore's Eurobrunn or Schneider's Zaxby. So, on pole position, Ayrton Senna in his second race for McLaren. Pole position at Brazil too, but no points, because after brilliantly fighting through from last to second, he was excluded for contravening the start regulations. In second place on the grid is Alain Prost. He's won 3 times at San Marino, although he was excluded in 1986 for finishing with his car underweight, and he has a very worthy adversary in Ayrton Senna. No team orders. Nelson Piquet is third on the grid, world champion 1987. He won here in 1981. He was third in Brazil. This is his second race for Lotus, but he is sadly off the pace thus far. Fourth is the brilliant Italian Alessandro Nannini, the top atmospheric induction driver in his Benetton Ford, more than justifying Peter Collins' decision to recruit him. But a lowly 11th, Nigel Mansell. This is his lowest starting position for 42 consecutive races after problems setting up the new Williams reactive suspension. Derek Warwick is 14th in the Arrows spare car he qualified. Julian Bailey has qualified for his first Grand Prix in the Tyrrell, in spite of the fact that it is still handling very badly. And Bailey's team partner, Jonathan Palmer, the 3.5-litre world champion of 1987, is 24th on the grid for the same reason, a poor handling Tyrrell. 26 to start then. 60 laps, 188 miles, and almost certainly drama in the last few laps. So they are all set now. The starter will press the button for the red and then the green. The San Marino Grand Prix has started. Senna gets away well. Nannini, terrific. Past Prost, who's left very badly on the line. It's Senna, Nannini, Piquet. Berger is well up, so is Patrese, and so is Eddie Cheever as they go round the left-hander at the Tamburello. It is Senna leading. Piquet is now second. Down to third goes Nannini. Up to third comes Patrese. Patrese in the 3.5-litre Judd-powered Williams is third ahead of Nannini. Berger is in 5th place. Eddie Cheever is 6th. There is Alain Prost taking Cheever, and 6th place Senna, Piquet, Patrese. Then the Benetton Ford up now towards the Tosa. Then from there to the Piratella, through the Acqua Minerale. That's the chicane that they're at now. Now they start to climb a little, and there is Cathy and the Scarlet Ferrari. 3 Scarlet cars, but Senna leading, trying to build up a gap between himself and Piquet, Patrese, then the Benetton.
Yes, the penny going well. He got past Boutsen going into the chicane there, but it'll be interesting to see what tactics Alain Prost adopt, having made a poor start, and I think he was boxed in on the long run down to the first corner by the normally aspirated cars, couldn't really use his turbo power, but I wonder if he'll elect just to take it easy in the early part of the race and try and, as it were, build up a credit balance of fuel rather than waste fuel trying to fight his way past a group. I would suspect that would be the right tactics, and I'm sure he'll do it, and hope that he's got more fuel left in the latter part of the race than his turbo rivals, because it's certainly expensive on fuel when the cars are tightly packed ahead of you as they are now.
Coming up now towards the Tamburello, on from there to Tosa, the climb from Tosa to the Piratella. Piquet's easing away a little. but he's not closing the gap as Senna goes through. There's Piquet. Patrese still third, Berger fourth. Prost is up into fifth position now on lap 3. And Nigel Mansell has made one place. He is in 10th position at the present moment.
And that looks like Capelli, who has stopped. So what a shame for Ivan Capelli. He was going very well, of course, in front of his home crowd here in Italy. Now this is where Prost might just turn his boost up to try and dispose of Berger, because he's getting a bit of a tow down the straight. And I think, yes, he has. Prost has hit the boost button by the look of it, but I think Berger's responded by doing the same thing. And that'll be annoying for Prost because he's wasted fuel, but he's got out of the corner quicker. Can he out-drag Berger up the hill? And it certainly looks like it, and Prost is through into 4th place. Now, he shouldn't have too much difficulty if he can get close up behind the Williams. He's got the big power advantage when they get onto the straight next time, and then he will feel a lot happier when he's in clear air.
And meantime, Ayrton Senna on lap 5 out of 60 is now nearly 6 seconds ahead of Nelson Piquet, who is 1 second ahead of Patrese, who has got Prost behind him in 4th position, and he won't be there all that much longer, I think, because Prost has got a power advantage over the 3.5-litre Judd-powered Williams, which he will soon exploit, because he's coming up to the really quick part of the circuit after this lap has completed. From the start and finish point through the Tamburello up to the Rettifilo and Tosa, it's about 190 miles an hour, and this is going to be Prost's opportunity. He's 4th at the moment in the red and white car, chasing Patrese, ahead of Berger there, number 28 in the scarlet Ferrari in 5th position. Nannini is still 6th. Now, is Prost going to get that 3rd position here from the 3.5-litre car of Patrese? He's right on his tail. He's going for it. He's got the power and he's through on the inside. So it is now Senna leading, Piquet 2nd. Prost is gaining in 3rd place in the 2nd McLaren Honda. Patrese down to 4th, still ahead of the turbo Ferrari of Berger 5th. Nannini has got the Ferrari just in front of him. Nannini in 6th position. Then Eddie Cheever holding on in the White Arrows Megatron 7th. Boutsen is 8th. Mansell is still 9th. Streff is 10th in the AGS. Warwick is 11th. Tarquini is 12th. And this Imola circuit has got a bit of everything. It's got tremendous speed, and there goes, back a place goes Berger. Nannini whistles through on the inside, on the exit to the Acqua Minerale, and regains the place he lost to Berger. And Ferrari look as though they're in trouble already. Alboreto is way down the field after a dreadful practice, and Berger is sliding back.
Yes, they had a lot of engine trouble in practice. They couldn't get the engine's brain working quite right. Apparently they changed quite a lot of the electronics on it after Brazil, and the drivers were saying, oh, can't we have, please just put it back to the Brazilian setup? But of course they hadn't got it with them. Whether they've managed to get it here overnight, of course they live only just down the road, but Berger certainly seems to be struggling for power.
Well, look at this. This is Prost about, I think, to take Piquet and demonstrate that the McLaren Honda is the car to have in 1988. Both these cars have got the same type of engine, the yellow Lotus with the Honda, and Prost goes through on lap 8 to take 2nd place. Now we're going to see what we have all been looking forward to. Two of the finest drivers in the world today, Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost, in identical McLaren Hondas, which are the class of the field in Grand Prix racing nowadays, battling against each other with no team orders. And Boutsen has moved up a place now. He's ahead of Eddie Cheever. He is in 7th position.
And Nigel Mansell has moved up past Eddie Cheever. So Mansell now in 8th place.
And we are on lap 11. Over 1/6 of the race distance completed. Ayrton Senna out on his own, 7.5 seconds now ahead of Prost, who is 5 seconds ahead of Piquet in 3rd position, who is 1.4 seconds ahead of Patrese, and you can see the gap between Patrese in 4th place and Nannini 5th, because there it is.
And Nannini is about the right distance to get a good tow down the straight. If he's got the straight line speed with the aerodynamics right, but certainly the Williams Judd looks pretty well set now. Patrese already getting wide at him. Patrese moved over a bit then, but that is what we expect. And if Nannini didn't expect it, he'll soon find out, because it won't be... He'll keep doing that until Nannini can find a way past.
There is a very fine line, of course, between holding your racing line and being deliberately bloody-minded and obstructive, and that is exactly what a lot of people in the past have accused Patrese of being and doing. And he's demonstrating that there is a very fine line at the moment as he grimly holds on to his 4th place.
And this is where Nannini needs to be very close, a little bit closer than he is. Just closing up. He ideally wants, and he's got it. He's about 4 car lengths behind, a bit more than that now. No, that's not going to be, he's not going to be able to pick that up on the toe, I don't think, before the end of the straight. He needs to be a little bit closer through that chicane complex. Get it absolutely right to attack. But he's pulling up, and Patrese, of course, moving over. Now, can he sell him a dummy? He won't get him round the outside, I wouldn't have thought. Not Patrese, but all good wheel-to-wheel stuff. And Bootson's got past Berger.
Yes, the Benettons are really flying. Thierry Boutsen, the quiet Belgian, has taken Gerhard Berger and 6 positions, so both the Benettons are in the top 6. Lap 15, race order. Senna leading by just over 6 seconds. Prost is 2nd and catching him. Piquet is 3rd, then Patrese.
And Mansell is beginning to get on terms with that group. Mansell, of course, has now got Berger in his sights. He's a couple of seconds behind him, but he's starting his climb into what one can really call taking the McLarens out the leading group.
And Mansell is up into 7th place ahead of Gerhard Berger, and you can see he's flying. He's visibly closing on Thierry Boutsen, who's 6th. There's Mansell round the right-hander. Ahead of him, the Benetton Ford of Thierry Boutsen there in the black, yellow and red helmet. And Boutsen has now got Mansell right in his wheel tracks. Nigel Mansell very shortly, I think, is going to be in the points in 6th position, because they're in the background, the 2 cars together, as Patrese and Nannini lap Modena in the Eurobrunn. He is being borne down on by the almost 1-car train, 2 cars actually, of Boutsen and Mansell. There it is, going up the hill towards the Piratella, the left-hander. This is it. Nigel Mansell, number 5, red 5, Nigel Mansell. 13 Grand Prix victories behind him in the Williams Honda, but now he's got the 3.5-litre Judd engine. And an interesting fact is that it is starting to get very warm. All thoughts of rain at the moment have disappeared, and I wonder how this extra warmth is going to affect not so much tyre wear, because no one is expecting any tyre changes, but how it will affect fuel consumption. Now, the last thing I would accuse Riccardo Patrese is, as Senna goes through to complete another lap, is helping his teammate, Patrese that is, Nigel Mansell. But unwittingly he is doing so because in his efforts to keep back Nannini in particular, as well as Boutsen, he is enabling Nigel Mansell to catch the 2 Benettons in front of him.
But this is the battle of the race, the battle of the normally aspirated, and if this is a portent of things to come next year, only with more cars, the other top turbo teams will be joining these top teams with normally aspirated cars next year, and this certainly augurs very well indeed for good motor racing next season. Tremendous 4-car scrap, and Nannini has finally done it, and he did it as we suggested. He sent Patrese to sleep. Patrese was not defending his position then. He sold him a dummy, and Patrese left the door wide open. After all that blocking and things, he just fell asleep on the job. So here we see it again now. Patrese doesn't think he's close enough, leaves the door wide open, and Nannini thinks it's his birthday, because I'm sure he didn't expect a present like that.
But in this race of mounting excitement, Senna on lap 26 now leads Prost by 9.5 seconds. Piquet is hanging on to his third place ahead of this titanic battle for fourth place, which is now held by Alessandro Nannini, who's pulling away. You can see there is Piquet, who is being caught by Nannini. Fifth is Prost, sixth is Boutsen, and Mansell's right with them.
And Nannini's put in a really fast lap, much quicker than any of the other atmosphere cars have gone so far. A 32.8, a full second quicker than the others have been going. So, and Boutsen has now followed through. So the advantage that Nannini had, hoping that Patrese would be holding the others up, has evaporated pretty quickly. He only had one lap like that, and Mansell. So Mansell goes through, and I should think Patrese maybe is getting in some sort of trouble. His engine sounds healthy at the moment, so one would have to suspect that he's got a bit of a tyre problem or something like that, or something's gone wrong with the balance of the car, because it looks fairly minor. And looking at it again, here is Boutsen. There he goes, which is effectively the outside, it's the inside of that corner, but the outside of the main one that comes up, but he got clean through, you see, and was able to let his car swing across the road and block any response from Patrese. So Patrese has dropped 3 places in one lap, in the space of a lap, and now we get Nannini straight up to Piquet and challenging Nelson Piquet. And there's certainly mutterings at Lotus that they're not too thrilled with Piquet's performance so far this year. They're looking at Senna with green eyes at McLaren's, and they are saying that they don't think that Nakajima gained a second and a half during the winter doing nothing in his ability, because he's about a second and a half closer to Piquet than he was to Senna, and they're not too thrilled. Despite the fact he's world champion, they think he could be doing better. And he's having a go, and their wheels are interlocked. This is fearsome stuff, but of course Piquet's got the power up the hill anyway, so at least Piquet is making a fight and defending his position. Certainly was quite hairy stuff, because Nannini managed to get his wheels inside Piquet's. Piquet was up against the curb. He couldn't go any further over himself, and you don't want to touch wheels from there, because they start flying in the air and doing all sorts of horrible things. So there you see confirmation of Prost, another fastest lap. That's 2 on the trot. He's been bringing the times down, and he's now got the gap back out under 10 seconds. It's 9.7 seconds, his gap to Senna. So although they're not together and racing each other, there's a very hard race going on up front. There are no team orders for these drivers, as Boutsen locks up a brake, by the look of it, and runs wide. That's a mistake by Boutsen. He went in a bit quick, and he's pushing Mansell onto the grass, which is naughty. And Mansell is through. So Nigel Mansell working his way to the front. He's now second in the atmosphere race from a relatively poor qualification time by his standards. And he's only got Nannini now to go to the top of the atmosphere cars. But meanwhile, I think Nannini's got a lot more speed in him than he's being able to show at the moment, because Piquet is definitely holding them up.
This is just the sort of drive that we expect from fighter Nigel Mansell, who's forced his way up from 11th to 5th place. He started in 11th place because it was difficult for him to get the reactive suspension of his Williams absolutely right. Now he's come up to 5th position by getting ahead of Boutsen. Race order on lap 34 in this 60-lap race. Senna leading Prost by 9.5 seconds. Piquet is 40 seconds behind Prost. Nannini is right behind Piquet.
He's not quite close enough, you see. He just can't quite. He needs to be really only one car length of clear air between them on the apex of that corner if he's going to stay close enough to Piquet to challenge him at the end of the straight. You see the power of the Honda Turbo is pulling him away, but I do believe that if Piquet's turning his boost up to do this, he won't be able to do that indefinitely, because his overdraft's going to get bigger and bigger, and at some stage he's going to have to compensate and turn his boost right down. So Piquet lapping now quicker than he's done at any stage before in the race, which also might lend a suspicion that he's turned up his boost. That's not to say that he has, because remember, the cars all will go steadily quicker anyway during the race as the very heavy fuel load comes down. It's when they start a Grand Prix, they're well over half, or certainly the normally aspirated cars with an unlimited fuel, they're well over half as heavy again as when they finish the race empty. And that, of course, makes them quicker as they get lighter. But still, the Honda turbo power is telling, but it's under acceleration away from the corner that Piquet said, oops, and Nannini looks as if he lost it there. And he most certainly did. Nannini, bad mistake from Nannini, just let the back get away from him. And all the good work, or a lot of the good work, has gone out of the window. He's now dropped, he's just managed to get it going before Berger arrived, but he's back behind Patrese as well.
Yes, down to 7th place, but of course in the process Nigel Mansell gains a place and Senna has completed his 36th lap, pacing himself magnificently at the front of the San Marino Grand Prix ahead of his teammate Alain Prost. And Prost in 2nd position now. The gap is increasing, it's 11 seconds.
There is Senna, working his way through the traffic now. Prost, the gap to Prost still just over 11 seconds. They're both in a bit of traffic, but completely a race entirely of their own. And really, the theory that I was mentioning earlier, that mumblings from Lotus, that they felt that Nakajima hadn't got any quicker, therefore they concluded that Piquet was a lot slower than Senna, having had that for comparison last year. It's a view that I share, and it's a view I think that probably Nelson Piquet shares, although he wouldn't tell anybody, because that might well explain his extraordinary public histrionics about Senna during the winter and about everything in general, in that having won the World Championship, he just seems to have become a very angry man. But I strongly suspect because he's aware that he's not driving very quickly.
Oh, he needs to drive quickly now, because look where Nigel Mansell is as they complete the lap. Mansell has carved an enormous chunk out of 3rd place man Nelson Piquet's lead ahead of him, and it's Piquet 3rd, Mansell 4th, pulling away from Boutsen 5th. Patrese in 6th, Nannini in 6th position ahead of Patrese 7th. Berger has been lapped. Gerhard Berger in 8th position has been lapped. Alboreto has been lapped, of course, in 9th place. Chiva 10th, Streff 11th, Warwick in 12th place, Nakajima 13th, Tarquini 14th. Ayrton Senna is on his 2/3 distance lap, 40 out of 60, 9.8 seconds ahead of Alain Prost. Piquet is 50 seconds behind Prost, and you can see the gap between Piquet 3rd and Mansell 4th. Mansell with, I think, a fuel advantage on the long term in this race, because Piquet's chassis is undoubtedly not up to the Honda engine in the way that the McLaren is.
And Prost, on the lap before last, put in a very, very quick one indeed, way quicker than anything else in the race. So it looks to me this would be the time that Prost has got to start his charge. He's been back in traffic, and Mansell goes through. So Nigel Mansell finally. And tremendous stuff. Piquet's got the power, of course, but Mansell needs just half a lap to get away, and of course now it's a bad time for him to pass with the main straight coming right up. But I doubt whether Piquet can use much extra boost, and Boutsen's still hanging on despite that misfire.
Yes, look at Thierry Boutsen in 5th position, because Piquet was undoubtedly unsettled, of course, when Mansell went through. He's lost his rhythm. Now he's going to wind up the boost and regain the place on sheer power, which he does. Mansell can do nothing about it, but tries to go around the outside of him. Boutsen right up behind Mansell. This is the battle for 3rd place. 3rd Piquet and the Yellow Lotus. 4th Mansell, 5th Boutsen, 3 different makes of car. And meantime, Riccardo Patrese is charging in 7th place. He is now just over 7 seconds behind the 6th place man, and there he is. It is, of course, Alessandro Nannini going into the Acqua Minerale bends. Now they climb up from the right-hander to the Variante Alta, and Mansell is passed by both Boutsen and Nannini.
Well, that was a definite problem, unless he just missed gears and got a box for a neutral, and he went out of shot, but looked like he got a serious problem there, Mansell. We didn't pan wide to see where he disappeared to. And there is Nigel Mansell cruising in, obviously in trouble, but a very encouraging race for him, I'm sure.
Yes, and also a very discouraging one, of course. A brilliant drive coming up from 11th to that 4th position, but terribly disheartening. I wonder if his engine has let go. But anyway, Riccardo Patrese is now up into 6th place, and Piquet has got his rear mirrors full of the 2 Benettons of Boutsen and Nannini, and there they go.
So a new fastest lap for Ayrton Senna, and Senna has responded to Prost. Prost was in traffic, and Senna has really opened the gap now. 11.6 seconds Senna leads.
There's Gerhard Berger. He's got back into the points. He is in 6th position ahead of Riccardo Patrese. And there is the blown Ferrari. It's Michele Alboreto. Well, his cup of misery at Imola is filled. He started 10th on the grid. He was out-psyched by Gerhard Berger. He was very unhappy about his car. They'd had wastegate and other turbo problems, and Michele Alboreto was destined not to finish. And Ayrton Senna is now about to start his 60th and last lap in an event which looks like being his first win for McLaren Honda, and I have little doubt that it will not be his last. And it's, I'm sure, the start of a season-long battle for supremacy between him and his teammate Alain Prost, who said just a day or so ago, "I have never had as dedicated a teammate against me as Ayrton Senna is, but he is fair and we get on very well together." And when you bear in mind that for a long time Niki Lauda was Alain Prost's teammate, that is indeed the highest possible tribute that the Frenchman could make about this man, Ayrton Senna.
Yes, well, an absolutely crushing victory for McLaren's. They've pulverised the opposition, lapped the entire field, and if there's going to be any battling this year, it'll have to be between the 2 McLaren drivers, because that certainly is very much an open question at the moment. Senna won on the day today. It was very much won and lost at the start of the race. Prost lost 7 or 8 seconds before he got through into 2nd place, and the gap at the moment is only 7 seconds. Great drive by Senna, tremendous fight by Prost, but above all, a really thrilling race for 3rd place, with the normal aspirated cars all over each other and very equally matched, and that really augurs well for good racing for the rest of the season, and even better racing in 1989 when we're all normally aspirated, and I look forward to some tremendous racing then.
And look how close Alain Prost has got to Ayrton Senna, too late in the closing stages of the race, because Ayrton Senna crosses the line here. Ayrton Senna wins for McLaren Honda from Alain Prost. Alain Prost, of course, continues to lead the World Championship. Nelson Piquet finishes in 3rd place. In 4th place, Thierry Boutsen. But in the very closing stages of the race, Gerhard Berger took Alessandro Nannini and 5th place. But the Benettons have both finished in the top 6. Eddie Cheever 7th, Nakajima 8th, Derek Warwick in 9th place, Streff in 10th position, Louis Sala in 11th place, Dalmas in 12th. Riccardo Patrese dropped right back to 13th position, Jonathan Palmer finished 14th, Maurizio Gugelmin 15th, Campos 16th, Alio 17th, and Modena in 18th position. And after that superb San Marino Grand Prix, Alain Prost continues to lead the World Championship with 15 points. But up into 2nd place with 9 points goes his teammate Ayrton Senna. Tying for 3rd place, Nelson Piquet and Gerhard Berger, 8 points. And tying for 5th place, Britain's Derek Warwick and Belgium's Thierry Boutsen with 3 points. McLaren have increased enormously their Constructors' World Championship lead, 24 points. 14 ahead of Ferrari in 2nd place on 10. Lotus are 3rd with 9, and Benetton are 4th with 4. With me, the two men of the day, and increasingly it looks like the two men of the year. Ayrton, it's never easy to win a Grand Prix, but you made it look very easy. How difficult was it?
Of course, it's never easy, especially when you run together with Alan. But the handling of my car was very good, and I only had problems right at the beginning after 5 or 10 laps. Some smoking coming under braking, so I thought this is another one I'm not going to finish. Then carry on. Then I had a gearbox problem when the gear lever started to get loose. I said it's just a question of time, but stay together, and then was just a question of looking after the fuel all the time, trying to keep the difference with Alan between 6 and 10 seconds, and overtake the slow cars, which were a lot of cars and difficult.
My race was not too bad, but because I missed the start, it was a little bit different. I had to overtake cars and put a little bit more boost at the beginning. I was down on fuel. Then I had to be a little bit more conservative on fuel, but I was too conservative.
Well, there is no doubt that you have a very worthy foe in the team in Ayrton Senna.
Yeah, sure, it's quite good. We are working well together, and this kind of race is good for spectators and even for us. We are fighting. It's fair. I mean, at the moment we have no problem, and being first and second for sure. I'm pleased with Ayrton. He missed a race 2 weeks ago. Quite happy to finish second and still leading the championship. The most important is we have one car, fantastic, and we can. I think we are going to win championship again, McLaren, and who is going to be the champion is going to be Ayrton and me, I think.
Well, two very happy men here at Imola. In a fortnight's time, the Monaco Grand Prix.
10th anniversary of Grand Prix. Now, during those 10 years, one of the programme's most popular features has been its theme music, the evocative strains of The Chain, written and played by these world-famous people, Fleetwood Mac. Now, this is the first time in 10 years that Fleetwood Mac have been back to the UK, so it's my pleasure to thank them on behalf of Grand Prix fans everywhere for all the enjoyment they've given us and for some wonderful music.
Everybody's travelling. Fleetwood Mac are off on the European leg of their world tour, and the Grand Prix teams are here in Mexico for round 4 of the championship and the first of a 3-race series on the other side of the Atlantic. The most important thing about Mexico is that the circuit is 7,000 feet above sea level, which gives the turbo cars an even bigger power advantage. The circuit's bumpy, it's hot, and it's going to be a very grueling race. With 2 wins and a second from 3 races, Alain Prost's already looking good for a 3rd World Championship in a McLaren that's the class of the field. But with Berger second and Ferrari a lot more competitive here, Senna is desperate for points to improve on his 3rd place ahead of Piquet's Lotus, Alboretto's Ferrari and Derek Warwick's Arrows. In the Constructors' Championship, McLaren, with Prost and Senna and a 13-point lead over Ferrari, look unbeatable. Amazingly, Frenchman Philippe Alliot will be driving in the Mexican Grand Prix in spite of this horrific accident when, in yesterday's practice, he lost his Lola Ford on the notorious 160 miles an hour pits turn. Incredibly, Philippe, only just recovered from a similar crash at Monaco, was unhurt. And to an inquiring Nigel Mansell, who went off in exactly the same place last year, it was thumbs up from Philippe. There, in pole position, the imperturbable, we thought, Ayrton Senna, until Monaco 2 weeks ago, when he amazed everybody by making a mistake in the closing stages of the race with a very secure lead and completely blew it. That is Alain Prost, the world champion of 1985 and 1986, second on the grid, leading the championship this year. 3rd is Gerhard Berger, but much closer in terms of time to the McLarens than he has been in the past. There is Nelson Piquet, 4th position on the grid, much better than he was at Monaco. After an aborted first start, the Mexico Grand Prix is hopefully now going to get away with Philippe Alliot on the back rank of the grid after having had trouble earlier on. Senna in pole position on the left. Prost in 2nd position on the right. It's going to be a 67-lap race now, reduced from the originally intended 68 laps. It's hot, it's humid, it's a very demanding track, especially that corner in the background. And now it's go again, and we've got him away cleanly this time. Senna leads, and Piquet comes screaming up. Alliot gets away in the background, and Prost goes through and takes the lead. Piquet goes up into 2nd place. Senna goes down to 3rd position, and Piquet is higher up now than he has been this season as he goes into turn 1.
And there seemed to be a bit of bumping and boring going on round towards the back of the field then at the start. but I'm going to have to wait for a replay to sort that out. And we think that Sala was involved in that bit, and there were yellow flags copiously. So Prost made a very good start, got the run down to the first corner, and Piquet showing a bit of aggression there, and that's got him into second place.
And Nakajima is ahead of both the Ferraris. He's got ahead of Gerhard Berger, who was third on the grid. He's got ahead of Alboreto, who was fifth on the grid. Prost is already building up a lead. Piquet is second. Senna is in third position. Nakajima is fourth. And then the two Ferraris. And it's an amazing achievement by Satoru Nakajima. This is certainly the highest that he's been in a Grand Prix at this stage of a race. And already Alain Prost has got the hammer well and truly down, and Ayrton Senna goes for second position and takes it from Piquet third, Nakajima fourth, then the two Ferraris, then it's Eddie Cheever and Derek Warwick and the two Benettons.
And Prost will be disappointed now. He's got a chance to look in his mirrors, and he'll see straight away that Ayrton Senna has slipped by Piquet going into the quick one onto the to complete the lap, and he might have just been hoping, although he certainly won't have banked on it, to have a few laps respite in which to build up a bit of a cushion to give Senna something to shoot at. But the two McLarens back in the positions to which we've already become accustomed this season, and their dominance may not be quite as great here as it has been. Nakajima having an absolutely storming race.
And you saw Philippe Alliot go into the pits. The leading Ferrari in fifth place is that of Gerhard Berger, and Alain Prost is showing that he is not to be overlooked. He is a long, long way from being yesterday's man, which some people thought he was in comparison with Senna, notwithstanding the fact that he's leading the World Championship. 2 laps completed. Alain Prost leads. Senna is second. We have yet to see this season a real battle between Prost and Senna on the track. Well, Alain Prost is increasing his lead, 3.3 seconds. Lap 5 out of 67. Prost leads, there he is. Senna is in second position. Nelson Piquet is third. Gerhard Berger is up to fourth. Down to fifth has gone Nakajima, ahead of Michele Alboreto, who is sixth. In seventh position, it is Eddie Cheever, and in eighth place, it's Derek Warwick. So, very much a turbo race in these early stages. And no retirements. Things are going well in Mexico, and you can see how bumpy the course is. You can see too that Senna is not at the moment carving out, but in the background you can see that Berger is closing right up on Piquet, and there Alboreto is ahead of Nakajima, and Berger is really forcing for third position now. Race order: Alain Prost, Senna. This is the battle for third position between the Lotus Honda of world champion Nelson Piquet and the Ferrari of Gerhard Berger, second in the World Championship, and Alboreto, who has got a lot to prove between himself and Berger, has got ahead of Nakajima and up into fourth place.
And Berger certainly took that corner very well. He was a lot quicker coming out of it than Piquet, trying to get a slingshot, but still Piquet's power. But because of doing the corner well, and that was a perfect illustration, thank you Gerhard, of exactly what I was explaining. He held back that time, didn't try and pass him into the corner, held back, took the full line, and he was going a good 5 miles an hour quicker than Nelson Piquet when they exited the turn, which allowed him at least to stay very, very close to Piquet on the straight. And that was an outstandingly good piece of driving by Berger. He thought it out, worked it out from the 2 previous laps, and theory is one thing, but he executed the practice brilliantly.
And you're looking at race leader Alain Prost, who has already won in Brazil and Monaco and finished second in San Marino to lead the World Championship, leading here in Mexico on lap 10.
As they crossed the line just now, and there's the battle of the atmosphere cars, and look at that for a good gaggle and a good battle. And that, I'm glad to say, hopefully is a foretaste of Grand Prix racing next year. And what a welcome sight that'll be when we get a gaggle of cars like that in a battle. The McLarens look jolly nice. That's Nigel Mansell in 17th place, and the Williams team have really had a disastrous practice session. The suspension on their cars, which of course is very high-tech and fairly experimental, has objected to the bumps and caused them lots of trouble, and it's not an easily fixable thing.
It is lap 14 that they're on now, 67 lap race, long way to go. Prost unusually is leading at this stage of the race because very often his tactics are to sit back and watch and see how things develop. He's ahead of his teammate Senna. It is still Berger in third place but gaining. It is still Piquet in fourth position. Alboreto in fifth place. Nakajima is still sixth. Seventh is Eddie Cheever. Eighth is Derek Warwick. Ninth and leading the 3.5 litre class is Nannini. And 10th is Boutsen. Over the line goes Prost.
Murray, I think Prost might take you to task about him sitting back and waiting. His tactics, I think, to be fair to Prost, have never been guilty of sitting back and waiting. You don't win the World Championship that way. What he does do is, if he makes a bad start or is down the field a bit, he's very patient about awaiting his chance, and he doesn't try and win the race on the first lap, but he certainly always is going flat out. But he's a bit more thoughtful than the others, and of course he is the world's greatest tactician, probably the greatest ever, and we've got two cars off there, and looks like they've had a little tangle.
Yeah, I stand corrected, James. One of them is certainly Cathy in the Dallara as he struggles out of his car, and the little Italian's race is completed. And there's another retirement. That's René Arnoux in the JS31 has just spun off and gets going again. And the rear wing, as you can see, is completely missing. Bernd Schneider out of his first Grand Prix. He qualified for Mexico, but he hasn't lasted very long. 15 laps his race ran, and the Zach speed, I presume the engine's gone.
Another fastest lap for Alain Prost, so Alain Prost very much answering anybody who was stupid enough to write him off as not as good as Senna at this stage, because not only is he setting fastest lap in the race, he's also pulling steadily away from Senna, and Berger really riding those curbs. That was probably a little bit too much, because when you ride it that high, it tends to throw the car, just kicks it a yard offline, and that ends up with a net result that you're actually slower through the corner. And that looks like Patrese being pushed into the pits, so Patrese continues the very unhappy weekend indeed for Williams. It's it has really stretched anybody's memory here to try and compare such a disastrous weekend. It goes back too far for memory that Frank had such a bad weekend.
But there they go, the two Arrows Megatrons in 7th and 8th positions, ahead of the two Benettons that we haven't seen in this race, but are still 9th and 10th, with Alessandro Nannini about as far ahead of his teammate Thierry Boutsen as Eddie Cheever is ahead of Derek Warwick. And on the 22nd lap now, just about 1/3 distance, it's Prost, Senna, Berger, Piquet, Alboreto, Nakajima holding on well in the points in 6th position. And into the pits comes Nigel Mansell, seemingly to fill the Williams Cup of Misery to overflowing, because Riccardo Patrese has already retired, and it looks as though Nigel Mansell is going to do just that on lap 23.
Yeah, very much so. He's getting out of the car, so that's the end of the day, and I would suspect a similar problem for the two Williamses, and I suspect their suspension, quite honestly, too much of a coincidence, but really for it to be anything else. That's been their bugbear this weekend. As we look at Nelson Piquet, and you see Alboreto in the background, and he's closing on Nelson, so we may just get a bit of a battle.
As Cheever and Warwick in the reverse order, because now Derek Warwick has got ahead of his teammate Eddie Cheever and is therefore up into 7th position. Derek Warwick, that you are looking at, who has this season already had 2 4th places in Brazil and Monaco, is now pulling away from Cheever, which shows that the American was holding him up, and Derek Warwick is charging for the points. He's 1 place off 6th position at the present moment, round the right-hander where he went off last year, as a result of which the race was stopped on lap 30 to be restarted. Eddie Cheever fighting back, And the race order on lap 27 continues to be leader Alain Prost, second Ayrton Senna, in third position is Gerhard Berger, fourth is Piquet, being caught by Michele Alboreto, fifth. Sixth is Satoru Nakajima. Up to seventh has gone Derek Warwick. Down to eighth has gone Cheever. Still ninth and 10th Thierry Boutsen as Alessandro Nannini, and in 10th position Thierry Boutsen. Eddie Cheever, that is. Ahead of the Ligier JS21, 31. Derek Warwick in the Arrows Megatron. The Ross Brawn designed car. Prost, race leader, lap 27. 67 lap race. Well, Prost is millimetre perfect, as he always is. The thinking man's Grand Prix driver who drives just as much with his head as with his heart. Just look at the way he rockets through that complex of bends. Into the fast right-hand 160-mile-an-hour corner to complete his 28th lap.
And is that Piquet? That's Nakajima. Nakajima pulling off the circuit with quite clearly a very severely blown engine, so that's the end of his day. And I was just grabbing the microphone off Murray. Let's get that far out. Come on, come on, come on. And keep saturating it, because they have a nasty tendency to flare up again if you don't get plenty of foam on it. Anyway, no, I was just looking. Prost's left rear tyre seemed to be a little bit marked up coming through the quick corner. Looking at it now, but of course it's the other side, but it seemed to have cleaned off again. And of course you do get a big build-up of heat in the tyres on that very, very long, fast corner, because apart from anything else, it's a bit banked. But the gap, in fact, has come down a tiny bit to Prost, so Senna has pulled back a second. It was at its most a lap or two ago, up to 8.8 seconds. So let's watch, because if Prost hurt any of his tyres, that gap will disappear very quickly indeed.
And on lap 29, with the disappearance of Satoru Nakajima's Lotus Honda, Derek Warwick moves into the points again this season. Derek has had a couple of disastrous seasons in 1987 with Arrows and in 1986 with Brabham. It's coming good this year. The man who finished in second places when he was with the Renault team, and now with Arrows he is in 6th place in the Mexican Grand Prix as Alain Prost goes into the right-hander, and now the left at the end of the long start and finish straight, one of the fastest sections in any Grand Prix course in the world. Now Prost is through the right-hander at turn 3. Left and right again. Now shortly into the long straight which leads up to turn 4. And you're looking now at Gerhard Berger sandwiched between the two Arrows of Derek Warwick on the left and Eddie Cheever on the right, who is out of picture just at the moment. Derek Warwick in 6th place has been lapped by both Prost, the leader, and Senna in 2nd place. He's about to be lapped very shortly by the flying Ferrari of Gerhard Berger in 3rd position. Derek, being the racing gentleman that he is, moves over and lets the Ferrari through. Absolutely no point in trying to keep him back, because it's going to happen sooner or later, so you might as well let it happen sooner. And that's the Ferrari pit signal being held out to Gerhard Berger to show him that the gap is 15 seconds. He won't need any urging to go, and Eddie Cheever is now setting about his teammate Derek Warwick. There's Warwick in 6th place, Eddie Cheever in 7th.
Yes, and that was a little bit of a worry. I was a bit worried for Derek Warwick then, because his gentlemanly behaviour when letting Berger through, going into that quick corner, undoubtedly cost him a little bit of time, and Cheever was quick to see that, went through the corner on the proper line at full speed, and very nearly got into a position to attack Derek at the end of the straight. And that would have been a very unfortunate way to lose a place. It's particularly to his teammate. Remember, of course, that although Grand Prix cars teams run two-car teams, the teammate, your own teammate, is probably your most important rival in the business, because he's the only other guy in the field who's in an identical car. So it's very, very important that you beat him. You may like him, most teammates get on well together, you may, because you have to work together, you exchange information, but when it comes to the race, again, you don't want to push each other off, and neither normally wants to do that, but there is a very, very serious rivalry, and it is very important to each driver personally that he should beat his teammate. Nelson Piquet getting down towards the last 10 laps of the race, and he's going to have to work very hard to hold on to that 4th place.
And Alboretto's consistently getting that signal, and as they go across the point there, Piquet, it's 2.3 seconds now, the gap between Piquet and Alboretto, with Prost catching the Ferrari.
Yes, I have to say that although the McLaren drivers are encouraged, certainly allowed, and encouraged most of the time to race each other by Ron Dennis, and as a matter of McLaren company policy, and quite right too, there comes a point in the race when Ron Dennis, the boss of the team, has the right to tell them to stop racing each other, and I think at this point that would be a sensible thing to do. It's quite clear that today Prost has won today's battle as far as all bar the shouting and things going wrong, and the way to make things to go wrong, and the same that Senna has a clear 2nd place, and the only thing that, or one of the things that could make things go wrong now is if they continue to race each other. The challenge is gone. Prost has certainly won the battle as far as driving concerned. He's kept that 8-second gap. It's over 8 seconds there on the caption, and I would suggest, certainly if I was in Ron Dennis's position, I would now ask my drivers to ease right up and get the cars nicely to a finish. But if he doesn't, we're the luckier ones, because Prost appears to still be going very quickly indeed.
Yes, that was, and Piquet's in trouble. There's a great haze of smoke coming from the back of the Lotus, and Alboretto is now taking 4th position and has taken it from Nelson Piquet as the Brazilian's Honda engine blows on lap 60, and out of the race goes the world champion. So now we have got Ferrari in 3rd and 4th places. Off comes the steering wheel so that Nelson Piquet can get out of the car, and up to Michele Alboretto, who is in 4th position, comes the dominant McLaren of Alain Prost to lap the man who is 4th. First of all, they banned ground effects, and still the cars went faster. Then they reduced the fuel allowance for the turbo cars, and still they went faster. This year they have reduced the turbo boost allowance and the fuel allowance, and the turbos are going faster again. Senna was faster in pole position for the Mexican Grand Prix than Nigel Mansell was last year with 4-bar boost. Prost has broken the lap record with 2.5-bar boost. And there is Ayrton Senna just ahead of a Ferrari. But don't think that it's Berger who has caught Senna. It is Alboretto that Senna has lapped. This is lap 65 in this 67-lap race, reduced by 1 lap owing to the aborted start when they actually did started it, and Nannini had trouble with his engine, as a result of which they reduced the race length by 1 lap. And you see now Alain Prost on his 66th lap out of 67. He has only got 2, including the lap he's on now, of these 2.75-mile Mexican Grand Prix laps to go. Between himself and yet another checkered flag, yet another victory to make his 31st, to raise his points total from his existing level of 430.5 to 439.5. It seems that nothing can stop this incredible little Frenchman. He laughingly said, after he had passed Jackie Stewart's record of 27 Grand Prix, I would like to go on until I win 40, but that only happened last year, and now he's on his 31st Grand Prix victory, and if he goes on the way he is going, he's going to win more than 40 before he retires. To retire to concentrate on his promotion business, he's just finished promoting the Formula 3000 Pau Grand Prix, and Alain Prost now goes into his last victory lap, having led the Mexican Grand Prix from the moment the lights turned to green and he entered the first corner. He has, in the process, demonstrated to his teammate Ayrton Senna, of whom many people were saying that he was the man and that Prost was over the hill. Let me hasten to say that I am not one of those people. And Prost is proving that he's very much number one. It's been an absolutely indomitable drive.
Yes, very much so. And yes, I'm afraid, to be absolutely fair, Murray, it was only the mugs who were saying that Prost was beaten before he started. Senna, of course, will run him for his money all the way, and I'm not saying that Senna won't win the championship, because they're very evenly matched, and that's what today's race proved more than anything, because once Prost got the better start, remember, Senna was behind Piquet from right until the end of the first lap, and that little tiny thing, the gap was a couple of seconds when they settled down in 1 and 2, and Prost always had the upper hand, very much like at Imola, where the roles were reversed 2 races ago, when Prost got the bad start and never ever got back on terms with Senna. So Prost takes the checkered flag.
To win the Mexican Grand Prix of 1988 in magnificent style. He'll slow down and stop almost immediately because he's been caught before on the car being underweight as a result of fuel. And there goes Ayrton Senna in the background in second position, to finish in only his second Grand Prix of 1988. He won the first one that he finished in at San Marino, but for the third time in 4 races, Ayrton Senna has been beaten by Alain Prost. Victory then for Alain Prost of the Mexican Grand Prix. Second, his teammate Ayrton Senna. In third position, Gerhard Berger in the Ferrari. Both the Ferraris have finished because Alboreto is fourth. Derek Warwick and Eddie Cheever both finish in the points for Arrows, 5th and 6th. Nannini wins the 3.5 litre race in 7th position with Boutsen 8th, Dalmas 9th, and Stefan Johansson a meritorious 10th position after a long, hard drive in the Ligier. Alain Prost has increased his championship lead. He's got 33 points. Berger is still second on 18, but Senna is only 3 points behind the Ferrari driver in third place, and Alboreto is fourth. Needless to say, McLaren have increased even further their massive Constructors' Championship lead, 48 points. Ferrari on 27 in second place, and Arrows and Lotus tying with 9 points behind them.
It was difficult race, even if it looks easy from outside, because Ayrton was pushing hard all the time, and the car was absolutely perfect, no problem, but the tires, I was a little bit afraid with the tires. I did not know if I had to stop or not, because at the first part of the race, tires were not very good, and then it came back better.
Well, Alan simply went faster right from the start. I had a good start, but then I had a problem with the pop-up valve that carried on open for the whole lap, and by the time I got consistent, he had already few seconds, which were very important. From there on, I think he drove very fast and was difficult to keep up with him, especially because he was very hard on the tires, and from one time to the other, suddenly you had some grainy or some blisters. But I think Alan drove very well and deserved this win.
Now for part 1 of our fabulous Silverstone competition. To mark that famous track's 40th anniversary, we're offering 6 winners a VIP day for 2 at the British Grand Prix. But for one special winner, there's a superb first prize of an all-expenses trip to the Australian Grand Prix in Adelaide. Question 1 is about Silverstone, the home of this year's British Grand Prix on July the 10th. These are scenes from its first Grand Prix held in 1948. And what we want to know is, who won it? Well, good luck with part 1 of the Grand Prix competition, and in 2 weeks' time we'll be showing you part 2 in association with the Canadian Grand Prix, where Ayrton Senna will be desperately trying to beat his teammate Alain Prost.
You got to be able to stop, cut him off, and work his ass. The horn, look, the horn. This is the last round. You want it? Huh? No, you got to get this. Yeah. You got to get it. Yeah.
You got 3 minutes. You're 3 minutes to nail this thing.
You got to go out there and do it, Ramsey. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You got to go.
Well, there it is, that low punch incident. Don't seem to be too bothered there in Hill's corner, as you would expect, with the man well in front, but they were screaming at Hassan there, you've got to do it. And the crowd cheering, I think, Jim, because it is the final round. Well, Hill's coming out as though he thinks it's the first round there with this activity. The cornermen are asking Hassan to try and do things he's not really capable of.
Yeah, and a bit more fluency about Hill's work here. He's throwing some good punches, moving around well. I don't know if he'll keep this going for the full 3 minutes.
I think he's trying to win friends here. It's very important for him in television in America. He's become an attractive fighter. Certainly very much of a bit of an idol in his state, North Dakota. And some of you who follow the amateur boxing may remember he waved the little flag in the corner during the Olympics. So he's almost ignoring Hassan's punches now, Jim. After 11 and a bit rounds, he knows there's not much there.
Yeah, Hassan, as his record suggests, he doesn't seem to have the power to trouble good fighters.
Well, he's trying to do a bit of, it's known locally here, a bit of showboating in the last round. He'll do, say, look, I'm a champion and not a bad one. He's won it clearly enough. But, well, Jim Watton, I did expect just a bit more. When you're talking about world champions in this kind of event here and the kind of money they're getting, well, just a little bit more authority in their punches anyway is needed. The referee actually tried to encourage some of the inside boxing. There's no new infighting, as they call it, that you've got two hands free in there, but neither boxer got on with it. Well, I suppose Hassan will say, well, at least I finished with the honour of professional pride of being on my feet at the finish, but that's all he can say. Poking out the mouthpiece, as they call them in America, actually invented in Britain by Ted Kid Lewis, the gum shield as we know it. and just the formality of the decision, and they've been friends all the way through, and that's how the fight went. They were a bit too friendly. Well, I don't know whether he's tried to explain there to his cornermen, well, listen, I won well enough. What do they expect from me?
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the official scoring. Gordon Volkman scores about 118 to 109. Carol Paulus has it 118 to 109. And Art Laurie scores it 116 to 112 for the winner by unanimous decision. And still, light heavyweight champion of the world.
A runaway win there, wasn't it? For Virgil Hill. Coming up next will be Tommy Hearns, but before that, we're going to take a break.
And our thanks to Reg Guttridge and the team out there. We are going back there to Las Vegas. Don't worry about that for that title fight. But in the meantime, we're going to ITN now for the latest news headlines.
Comedian Ken Dodd is to appear in court tomorrow accused of tax evasion. He'll face 18 charges believed to stretch over a number of years when he goes before Liverpool magistrates. Dodd's in hiding tonight. His press officer said the news came as a complete surprise.
And I know nothing at all about it, I'm afraid. We'll just have to leave things until I'm able to speak to Ken, because it came as a surprise to me. I know nothing at all about it, because Ken's away at the moment. He's just not at home at the moment.
Lester Piggott, who's serving a jail sentence after being convicted for tax evasion, is said to be devastated after being stripped of his OBE by the Queen. The racing world is said to be expressing sadness.
It was 7 months ago that Lester Piggott was sentenced to 3 years for tax evasion amounting to £3.1 million, and he's now lost his most treasured honour. Piggott's association with the royal family goes back a long way. He's pictured here after riding the Queen's horse Carossa to victory in the Oaks in 1957. The OBE was awarded for his services to racing in general. Buckingham Palace said the Queen's decision was almost inevitable. Piggott is reported to have wept when he heard it.
The law has decided that Lester should pay a grievous price for tax fiddling. That's what he's doing. There's a deserved sentence, no argument about that. But now the establishment have put the boot in when the man's already down. They at least are running true to form.
Dearer mortgages could be on the way after the banks put up their interest rates by 0.5% to 8.5%. Another rise is expected, and the building societies are warning that could mean dearer home loans. Russell Harty is this morning gravely ill on a life support machine in hospital after his condition worsened yesterday. He's now unconscious at the St James's Hospital in Leeds, where he's suffering from acute hepatitis and liver failure. Police are searching for 3 prisoners still on the run after the riot and breakout from Haverig Prison in Cumbria. The Home Office has confirmed reports of drug taking. Nearly 30 buildings were wrecked when about 100 prisoners went on the rampage for 6 hours. The trouble started after the men were told to remove pin-up posters from newly decorated walls. That's it for now. I'll be back with the morning news at 5. See you then.
From out of the shadow of his famous father comes Oscar-winning Michael Douglas. In this week's TV Times, read how he fought his way up from college dropout to international stardom. Gene Rogers' love life has come in for some harsh words. Now the Emmerdale farm star tells us the truth. There's lots to view in this week's TV Times. TV Times.
We're all set now for the WBC Middleweight Championship title fight between Thomas the Hitman Hearns and Iran Barkley. Back to Reg Guttridge in Las Vegas.
So back at ringside then here in Las Vegas. The Master of Ceremonies, Mike, ready to rumble. Buffer is introducing quite a few celebrities around the ring, but they're all a little bit too shy to get in the ring, it would seem. They're getting cheers and jeers according to their popularity here. Show people. Bo Derek, who's a great fan here with her husband, she's always around the ring sides here. And Tommy Hearns now loosening up at the back of this convention centre. This all carpeted arena that we have here. It really is the perfect hall for boxing, the 9,500 people. And the official is Richard Steele in the ring there in the slightly tinted green shirt. He works in a local casino here. He's one of the best referees in the business. Mr. T, there was a man who used to be the minder of Leon Spinks, and here comes Iran Barkley, nicknamed the Blade, and a real hard and fearsome looking character as well, isn't he? A little bit angry at losing to Sambu Kalanbay in Italy, the WBA 12 rounds last October. And he says that something went wrong on the scales, and he really is blaming the Italians out there for that. He said, "I never weighed 10 stone 13 or 153 in my life." This is the middleweight limit now, 11 stone 6. So inevitably Baron Hilton gets introduced. And this fellow's on deaf ears, I would have thought, Iran Barkley. There's been quite a lot of what they call here smart money for him. Here's Tommy Hearns, but Tommy Hearns has come in a 7-2 favourite. He was almost 5-1 in the early betting, but there's been some smart money for him in the last hour or two, the challenger. And of course betting is all legal here and posted on the boards outside. But the odds, I got the impression, were very much in the bookmaker's favour here. So the Rocky theme, the Eye of the Tiger. Barkley came into the gospel sung by the Georgia Mass Choir. We've got the victory. A little bit premature. And the man there used to work a bit with Muhammad Ali, Lloyd Wells. He just concentrates straight on there. He's got a touch of the Mike Tyson mentality there, ignoring all around him, Tommy Hearns. Different style of boxer entirely, of course, to the heavyweight champion. But a record breaker, 4 championships of the world at different weights. In fact, they haven't always been unified, and there's always been others in other commissions. But it's a great performance nonetheless by Tommy Hearns. Defeated Dennis Andrews, who's now joined his stable for the light heavyweight championship, but he's come down from 12-7 to 11-6 for this one, which he won against Juan Roldan in Las Vegas, but looked a little bit wobbly doing that. And there's the statistics. Hearns has been around so long, 29 really seems quite young for him. He boxed in 1976 at Wembley as an amateur against George Gilbody, only a split verdict too. So there's the rundown of the rules, and that standing 8 count means that as they do in amateur boxing, that you can get a count without going down. That doesn't happen here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission and the World Boxing Council. The judges for this contest are Jerry Goff from Nevada, Yama from Nevada, Oscar Linton from Mexico, and the referee is Richard Steele of Nevada. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Las Vegas Hilton Hotel and Casino here in Las Vegas, Nevada, Top Rank Incorporated and the King of Beers Budweiser presents the featured bout of the evening. So let's get ready to rumble 12 rounds for the WBC Middleweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He's wearing the black trunks with red trim and weighed in at an even 160 pounds. He's from the Big Apple, New York City, New York. As a professional, 24 victories, 4 defeats, 15 KOs, ranked number 2 in the world by the WBC. Introducing the challenger, Iran, the Blade Barkley.
Well, he's really playing the villain's role here, and the crowd are reacting to it. He's wearing his yellow tracksuit there, the trouser part. Tommy Hearns.
As a professional, 45 victories, only 2 defeats, 38 KOs, the only man in boxing history to hold 4 titles in 4 divisions. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Motor City of Detroit, Michigan, the former world welterweight champion, the former world super welterweight champion, the former world light heavyweight champion, and now the WBC middleweight champion of the world, the Hitman, Thomas Hearns.
And he really does revel in that, and you can understand that. There's a little bit of history there, and he's still dying to fight either Sugar Ray Leonard or Marvin Hagler. But he's a bit of a hard nut, this Iran Barkley, I'll tell you that. He's won 2 fights, Barkley, since he lost that decision to Calamba in Italy. Opening round, Jim, there's a lot to see whose chin's going to be good here, because they say that if it's going to happen, it could happen early, and that as Hearns was a bit wobbly, as you saw in his last fight, whether he could get tagged. But if Barkley settles down, he's not a polished looking fighter, but he's a very awkward fella. Tommy Hearns always looks for the sharp right-hand punch to come in there and stamp the old authority right away on the opponent's chin. And you remember how he demolished the great Roberto Duran. And his only 2 losses, of course, were to great fighters, Hagler and Leonard. Was something explosive, Jim, when Hearns is in the ring. I mean, such a phenomenal puncher. But in the last one, he went down himself, wobbled all over the place. Now, he came in with a little bit of needle, as they say, with Barkley. He's been dismissing him a little bit too much, and certainly fighters of Hearns' quality like a little bit of respect.
Well, it's a typical Tommy Hearns first round. He looks to land the big bombs as early as possible and try to intimidate his opponent. And already they've both landed good punches, but Hearns that little bit more power.
I mean, it intimidates you with a lot of pain too in those punches. He can dig with either hand. I would say the right hand, I should say, is his favourite puncher. When he turns the left hook in his welterweight days, he really nailed people. He's a gutsy guy though, Barkley. He's taken some good shots there and tried to ignore them and come back in again. Qualified for this shot actually, Barkley, by stopping New York favourite Michael Alargade.
I think I see a little bit of blood already on Barkley's left eye. I don't know about a little nick or a...
Well, they haven't been close enough for head clashes, Jim, I'm sure. It's got to have come from a punch. Yeah, there is, you're right. This doesn't look serious, I'm pleased to say. We want to see some more of the fight yet. So there it is coming up then for that countdown. That minefield touch of coming out there in the first round is over now. They can both settle down a bit, I suspect. There's no love lost, is there? We've noticed that they're doing the staring bit at the end of that round.
Barkley's corner have taken a terrible time to get working on that eye.
Yeah,
the second's not even in the corner yet. That's a disgrace.
And I'm surprised because Eddie Aliano, who's doing it, is very well known as a cut man here, and he already had the adrenaline swab in his mouth there, or the stick anyway, not the swab.
Keep your hands up now.
And
I'm doing, baby. You're doing pretty bad, but keep your hands up. Okay?
That's a pity for him, of course. That must bother him, Jim. That's the end of the first round against a puncher like Hearns, and you're already showing a bit of blood. That hurts.
You know, that's the last thing you need, obviously, and he does cut up, he does get banged about a little bit. He's not the most difficult man in the world to hit, so that's trouble straight away for Barkley.
And just quick replay then before they come out. Out for the second round. And, Alain Barkley's left eye patched up a bit there. The old-fashioned feint. You don't see that too much in boxing now, with Hearns trying to draw Barkley's lead there. There it is, and he drew it. Perfect over the top right-hand shot there. He really looks as sharp as attack here, Hearns. He's bitten all this adverse publicity about him wobbling against Roldan last time up, Jim.
Yeah, you wonder where Hearns finds the motivation. He's obviously made plenty of money. He holds the record, first man ever to win 4 world titles, yet he's going about his job tonight as though it's his first world title fight. Full of life and full of ambition. Where does he get his motivation? I don't think Barkley can hope for any success if he backs off away from Hearns. He's got to get his hands in nice and tight, go forward and try to wing punches towards Hearns.
Fights I've seen Barkley, and he's got better as the fights have gone along. He's a bad starter, but then they weren't at the high quality of Hearns, although Sambu Kalambe is a very awkward man to beat, as Harold Graham discovered.
Well, Barkley got through with a decent shot high in Hearns' head there.
Those heavy odds takers, 4-1, 7-2. When they see a punch like that landed, there's a little bit of hope for their pockets, I suspect. Richard Steele, the referee, just making sure Barkley's not hanging on too much in close quarters. Break when he's told. A bit like in baseball terms here, Jim, the pitcher and the catcher at the moment.
Yeah, Barkley's face is getting pretty banged up already, blood coming from his mouth, and the left eye bleeding again.
Yeah, it looks to me as though this eye's going to be the trouble here. That's worse than considerably, I think. Started in the corner of the eye and it spread along a bit. Almost as if Hearns resented that the bell had gone there, and the referee's going over it. Looks as though he could be calling the doctor up for a... No, he's not. He's just letting the seconds get on with it a bit before anybody has another examination of it, and collecting the judges' scorecards meanwhile. And now Richard Steele is going back in the corner. And yes, the Nevada State doctor just coming up having a look.
Okay, that's right, the motherfucker. Yeah, go ahead. Now swallow this one out. Okay.
Manuel Stewart working there as always, the manager with Tommy Hearns, a long, good career they've had together.
Yeah, but working good, baby. Slip right hand, huh? Slip right hand?
Okay. They are little doll's house irons almost, aren't they, called ice swells that they use in an ice bucket to try and keep the swellings down. Well, he really looks like a warrior coming out there for the third round, Alain Barkley. And he's got to unload because maybe the corner have said if you don't do something, you could get stopped with a cut.
Well, this is what Barkley has to do. He has to come forward, knock Hearns out of his stride and swing some of these bombs and hope he catches him. Because he doesn't seem to have much time with that left eye. When Hearns' box rolled down, he admitted to feeling very tired because of the ferocity of the pace. So Barkley also has to do this, really set a pace, and if Hearns is tight at the weight as he possibly could be, that would act in Barkley's favour too.
He's certainly got all the build of a natural light heavyweight and not a middleweight, a stone heavier than this. Oh, kicking those to the body there. The referee telling him to keep the punches up. Barkley didn't complain, but they were really solid body shots. He's bloodied pretty badly there, Jim. It's a pity if it's going to stop this contest, because Barkley's a brave fella. He's having a go, but he's really shipping some punishment now.
Well, Hearns is picking them like a true professional, a true champion.
He's almost taunting him with it, isn't he? Almost head down and blindly throwing punches there, Barkley. Obviously, he's a bit crude at the best of times, but if he can only see from the right eye, then he's got to try and edge it that way and look that side. Now he's just got a standing target at times there, Hearns. Oh, what do you think of this? A man taking a beating, throws one hit and hits the record-breaking Tommy Hearns on the chin in the third round, and he's going to get counted out, or if he doesn't, he'll be all over the place when he gets up. But Richard's still trying to give him as long as he can, and he's made it, but for how long? I don't believe this one, Jim. Unbelievable. Tommy Hearns right above our position, and we're holding our hands up trying to stop him coming out the ropes here. And the referee's grabbed him, and it's all over in the third round. He's literally on our television monitors. They pulled him back in the ring. Jim, do you believe what you've just seen?
I don't believe it. He'd completely broken up Barkley. We've seen Tommy wobbled a couple of times. We saw him wobbled a few times against Roldan. People have been saying he's reached the stage where he doesn't have the punch resistance any longer, and that looks the case, because it was only one shot right out of the blue. Hearns was in complete control. Suddenly it was all over.
Well, I started the commentary by saying there was some smart money, and there were people in the fight game who knew their business, who backed this fellow to win, and there he is. I mean, he's really bleeding like a stuck pig as well, and was getting a bit pitiful at one point. And I was wondering if the referee was going to be in for some criticism for not stopping it. Suddenly, out of the blue, and that's what this fight game's all about. One punch making all the difference, and that, to me, must be the end of Tommy Hearns. I don't think he'll want to come back after that. He could stand losing to Marvin Hagler and Sugar Ray Leonard, and they were great fights, but surely not with that one. As you say, Jim, I think the punch resistance at 29 now, he's been around a long time, 45 wins, and he really still does look groggy, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's completely gone. From the moment that punch landed, I'm surprised the referee still allowed it to go again, but only a couple of seconds, because you could see Hearns had nothing left. Probably a 4-time champion. You had to give him a chance to see if he could throw the effects and get back into the punch, back into the fight again, but it's pretty obvious he couldn't.
Jim, here is this punch now. This is one that's going to be history making. Although Hearns was the history maker, bingo, he dropped his hands and he paid the penalty. And really, as he didn't know what town he was in then, the hitman from Detroit. And he really did well to even climb up from another angle, Jim.
Yeah, just a wild swing out of the blue, which was the only way Barkley could have success, but it was bang on the chin, bang on the point of the chin. Caught him again as he went down, but we didn't need that second one. It was all over for Tommy by then.
Well, the ultimate humiliation there, isn't it, for any pro boxer to go out like that, and particularly when you're winning so easily, and a man with a great record and a great reputation like this. And that's the point where, right above our position here, he almost fell on Jim Watt and I as we instinctively tried to hold him back there. You see our hands coming up there.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. The time, 2 minutes, 39 seconds of the third round. The winner by knockout victory, and new middleweight champion of the world, Iran, the Flame, Barkley.
Well, the man from nowhere has done it. And the crowd have appreciated that. They love the underdog winning in this town because not too many people win. And as usual, an absolute carnival in the ring there. They're almost like sentinels around the ring, the security, but there's always people that manage to get in. I often wonder how they do it. And when you're in there trying to talk to people, it really is a bit too hectic. So Hearns leaving the ring then, right above us, and I would think that's the last time you'll see the hitman from Detroit. As Jim Watt was saying, the multi-millionaire need not come back again. He got $1.5 million for this one. Meanwhile, trying to sort out the new champion for an interview there. And I'm going to hand over then to Al Bernstein to talk to Eran Barkley.
No, I was sucking up the wind. He threw some good body shots, but I just want to also say, man, Tommy was a great fighter, you know, and I'm thanking him for giving me a chance to fight him, a great champion like him, and a legend, a great legend, and he gave me an opportunity when he didn't have to, and I thank him.
You're a gracious winner, that's for sure. Now, the cut over the left eye had an impact. Did that make you really go after him more?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it made me go more because my trainer here, Al, said, look, baby, don't stand there and box with him. You picking him apart. He said, go ahead and fight with him, and you could come out, you know. I just wanted to get a couple of more rounds before I could get him, you know. But
were you surprised that you did get to him so early?
No, I wasn't surprised. It was just that I felt that I was going to get to him as soon as I just take my time. He told me to take my time, and I was listening. I didn't care about the cuts because I didn't have time to bleed, you know. I just said, well, I know I'm going to win this fight, but I got to keep going. He hit me with some good shots, but Tommy's a great, tremendous champ he was, and I just wanted to thank the Lord, man, for giving me this chance. And he gave me a shot when he didn't have to, and I just thank him.
Congratulations, Iran, a wonderful win.
Thank you.
All right, Iran Barkley with a surprising...
So there it is, Jim. I tell you, he's a happy guy. I like that line as he didn't have time to bleed. Do you think that's probably the last we've seen of Tommy Hearns? We're obviously going to see a lot more of this fellow.
Yeah, I don't see any reason for Tommy Hearns to come back. He's spoken about Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, but that's not even a possibility now. I think we've seen the last of Tommy Hearns. What a fabulous career, and what a lot of pleasure.
Of Montreal for today's Canadian Grand Prix. The Gilles Villeneuve circuit on the man-made Notre Dame Island is at sea level, so the normally aspirated cars have got a better chance here. But even so, they'll have to really scratch to challenge the all-conquering turbo cars, because after 4 rounds of the championship, it's very much turbos at the top. Alain Prost commandingly leads the drivers' contest ahead of Berger, Senna, Alboreto, Piquet and Warwick, with Boutsen, the top 3.5-litre driver, only 7th. McLaren's lead in the Constructors' Championship is almost embarrassing, 21 points. And apart from Ferrari, it almost looks like no contest. But in Grand Prix racing, anything can happen. Maybe it'll happen today. Here in Canada, Ayrton Senna is once more in pole position with teammate Prost second. McLaren, with turbocharged Honda engines, have won every race this year and could have had another 12 points but for Senna's misfortunes. Honda, like all the other turbo engines, have to use this, a pop-off valve, to limit their power. It opens when the boost pressure reaches 2.5 atmospheres, but even so, Honda are in a different league.
I have to say that I think Honda have lifted the level of competition almost onto another plane. We're seeing a backup in terms of people, in terms of technology, in terms of effort and money put into the sport that perhaps we aren't matching at this moment.
Ferrari technician Harvey Postlethwaite gloomy about Honda then, but in spite of the fact that Nigel Mansell hasn't got Honda power this season, he's surprisingly cheerful.
I think we'll have some good races, but let's be realistic about it. The turbo cars are in a league of their own. I think, to be fair, it's even surprised us, not just the rule makers, FISA and FOCA. The equivalence rule we thought would bring the cars closer together this year. Well, in point of fact, I think there's a bigger gap than there was. On saying that, next year is going to be fantastic. So I'm looking at this year realistically as a consolidation year. I hope to get a good result, if not some good results. But I'm just going to keep my head down and play golf and drive the car and keep out of trouble.
There wasn't a Canadian Grand Prix last year, but the gap's been used well, dramatically to improve the circuit's facilities. The organisers have built a superb new pits and garage complex and a really impressive new race control tower, and the start and finish line's been moved some 4,000 feet. All that, plus a lot of resurfacing, some road widening, sand traps and new grandstands, have made the world's only island circuit even better. And there was major drama on the revised circuit yesterday when Derek Warwick lost his arrows in the biggest possible way. But in an astonishing testimony to the strength of his car and his own fitness, Derek got out of his arrows unharmed, just as Philippe Alliot had in an even more spectacular accident in Mexico 2 weeks ago. Now, amazingly, Derek Warwick is going to drive in the Canadian Grand Prix, starts from 16th place on the grid. But in pole position, for the 5th time in 5 races, it is Ayrton Senna. Only 1 win this year. Alain Prost is second on the grid, and he, like Senna, was comparatively slow in the warm-up. This double world champion was 3rd fastest this morning. Then the 2 Ferraris, 3rd Gerhard Berger, and 4th Michele Alboreto, who, perhaps significantly, was fastest in the warm-up this morning. Alessandro Nannini, the fastest normally aspirated engine car driver, 5th on the grid in the Benetton. Nigel Mansell is 9th on the grid and was 7th fastest this morning. They're still coming into position in the rear, you can see that. The drivers in front won't be too happy about having to sit there with their clutches out. We're ready to go now. And this time Senna looks as though he's got a good start. So has Prost. The 2 Ferraris are well up. It's a very short run into the first corner, as you can see. But thank heavens, it looks to me as though they are all round safely. It's McLaren's 1st and 2nd, Ferrari's 3rd and 4th, Benetton's 5th and 6th, Senna, Prost, Berger, Alboreto. Boutsen has taken Nannini, and Piquet is on the tail of Nannini.
I've just got a glimpse, and I think it's Prost who got the jump into the first corner. Looked like the white helmet of Alain Prost in front with the 2 McLarens, and that will bear out Senna's annoyance at being given what he considered, quite rightly, to be the wrong side of the grid for the start. He felt he was being put at a disadvantage. 2 McLarens being chased hard by the Ferrari, but this is going to be a very long, tough race. So, teams all neatly arranged at the moment, the first three, and Berger, I think it was, just having a look there. So Prost where he wanted to be. The two McLaren drivers seem so evenly matched in the race that the big advantage seems to be whoever can get away first. It has been so far this season. We haven't yet seen a McLaren overtake a McLaren during a Grand Prix.
Well, already the first three are breaking away, and there they are. Prost leading, Senna second, Berger third. Then there's a bit of a gap before Michele Alboreto in fourth place. Look for him, there he is. Boutsen is in fifth place in the Benetton. There, and that is Nannini in sixth position, and Julian Bailey touring in. I'm looking to see if there's a broken suspension or anything. Doesn't look like it to me. Incidentally, Sala had a broken wing at the start. There he is, Sala coming into the pits without a rear wing, so they'll have to fit a new one quickly. Prost, Senna, Berger, Alboreto, Boutsen hanging on well to Alboreto in fourth position. And I say again, because it bears repetition, that fuel consumption is going to be the key to the Canadian Grand Prix.
Yes, indeed. This is very much a fuel race, not only, funny enough, for the turbos, but also for quite a number of the Atmo cars who, although they have unlimited fuel quantity, so high is the fuel consumption at this Montreal circuit that a lot of them didn't build their cars with big enough tanks at the start of the season. Now the Benettons that you see there, the two green Benettons, do have the biggest tanks. They can get about 215 litres into their cars, and they should be all right to go the distance. But the other problem, because this is probably the best chance the atmosphere cars will get of beating the turbos this year.
Lap 5, and unseen by you, I can tell you that Nigel Mansell is now right on the tail of Nelson Piquet, who is in 7th position. You're looking at Gerhard Berger's Ferrari, number 28 in 3rd position. There's the confirmation. The numbers at the bottom of your screen are car race numbers. There is Prost leading, Senna 2nd, Berger 3rd, Alboreto 4th, Boutsen 5th, Nannini 6th, Piquet in the background in a moment. You will see, there he is, followed by Nigel Mansell.
And I noticed Berger just knock his back brakes going into that corner then, so watch out to see if he is suffering any brake problems. Now they do have an adjustable brake balance bar in the cockpit, so, and there is Mansell now pressing Nelson Piquet in the Lotus.
And that is Gabriele Tarquini in the Coloni, who you just saw going to the left of your pictures, and from the look of the marshals, he's retiring from the race. And it's good stuff. Berger still 3rd, not very far ahead of Alboreto, and look how close Boutsen and Nannini in the green and yellow Benettons are to Michele Alboreto. As you watch that, let me remind you that we still haven't really seen in 4 Grand Prix so far this year, with Boutsen showing his front wing to Alboreto all the time. We haven't yet seen a real wheel-to-wheel scrap between the two top cars and drivers of 1988, Prost and Senna in the McLarens. In Brazil, of course, Senna had that gear selection problem. In San Marino, Prost got away late from the start. Monaco, although Senna pulled away well, he blew it at the end of the race. And in Mexico, they never really got to grips. Well, now they're closer, and into the pits. That looks like, that's Oscar Larrauri in the Eurobrunn coming into the pits, minus his nose, which probably the nose of the car. But hello, this looks, look, this is it. There he is, that's Larrauri hitting Stefan Johansson's Ligier. The nose goes skating off on the corner just before the pits. So if it was going to happen to Oscar Larrauri, the Argentinian driver, it couldn't have happened at a more convenient place. And now Senna, now we're getting this wheel-to-wheel scrap that we've been eagerly looking forward to all season on lap 10, because Senna is right up with Alain Prost.
Yes, Senna has that look about him that means business right now. So it looks to me as if Senna is about to make a bid for the lead. He's got himself nicely placed right up Prost's gearbox. But it may take him a little while to plot his way past Alain Prost. Prost is certainly not going to make it easy for him. He's not going to be rude or badly behaved about it, but he's going to be smooth and holding the racing line all the time, and that makes it very difficult for anybody to find a way around.
And Boutsen and Nannini have got past Alboreto. I'm sorry you haven't seen it, but that is the news, that Alboreto has slipped down to 6th position. Boutsen is now 4th, and Nannini is 5th.
Yes, let's hope they picked up a replay. They were taping it so that we can see it, because for both of them to get past at once like that, one would, I'd hazard a guess that Alboreto might have made a little mistake somewhere. But certainly the Ferraris are now proving that they can't really live with the pace of the McLarens. Berger hung on bravely for the opening 4 or 5 laps, but he's been dropping back ever since, and I suspect he's had to come back on the power a little bit of his engine in order to look after his fuel, and it, for the time being, has become very much the old picture, except that at least we've now got the 2 McLarens actually racing each other for the first time this year, and that's something we've certainly been hoping for.
A wonderful scrap developing now between the 2 Benettons there, Boutsen and Nannini, and Gerhard Berger, the man who has scored points in every one of the 4 Grand Prix so far this year and is 2nd in the World Championship. Berger from Austria, countryman of the great Niki Lauda. And we are on lap 14 in this 69-lap Canadian Grand Prix at the Gilles Villeneuve circuit, named after the great, unfortunately late Gilles Villeneuve, who won the first Canadian Grand Prix at this circuit for Ferrari in 1978 and made himself in the process the hero of Canada. But Boutsen now is getting very close to be in a totally challenging position against Gerhard Berger. Are we going to see a Benetton passing the Ferrari? And possibly both of them. This is lap 14, and there they go. There's Boutsen into the hairpin, up into 3rd position, and Nannini, I think, will be taking Boutsen shortly.
Well, it was interesting then that Berger obviously doesn't want to get involved in too much of a scrap. He's cut back on his power because he didn't put up a fight at all for Boutsen, and Nannini managed to go past him on pure power. There we see the replay just going into the 1st gear hairpin, and Berger was very gentlemanly about it.
Ayrton Senna back again with his teammate Alain Prost, and I was telling you that the Benettons are the fastest cars on the circuit. Nannini has just lapped at 126.7, Boutsen at 126.9, compared with Senna 126.93 and Prost 127.15. Now, that's not a great deal of difference, but it does mean to say that the Benettons, having got past both the Ferraris, with Senna really trying now to take Prost, could close up on the 2 McLarens in front of them, and there goes Nannini in trouble. Past him goes Berger. Nannini, something has happened. Off the circuit goes Alessandro Nannini. Oh dear, so all our hypotheses about Benettons have certainly come to nothing as far as Nannini is concerned. Out on lap 16.
And there is a new fastest lap, Senna 26.6, and so they are lapping just a little bit quicker than Thierry Boutsen at the moment. It really is a shame that we lost Nannini of the 2, because Nannini was the quickest man on the circuit at the time, just before he went out of the race. And Senna's now having a look, and Senna goes down the inside to take the lead from Prost. So, and and that won't worry Prost too much. He'll be, I'm sure, more than happy with the second place if he can finish the race in good shape. He'll be quite happy, and he'll be quite happy now to sit behind Senna, because he can actually save fuel sitting behind Senna. He can turn his power down a tiny bit, so long as he can stay with him, and he gets the hole in the air that Senna is making. If that is, if he can just stay there, and that, of course, is an advantage. And he's dropping back. Senna, obviously, at this stage, will be going absolutely flat chat, trying to put a little bit of air between them. He doesn't want Prost to get the advantage of that hole he's making, and here we see it again. Very conventional overtaking manoeuvre. Senna had worked for several laps to get himself into the right place to do that. And Berger has pulled off. So Berger seems to be out of the race. And Nigel will now want to be as close as he possibly can behind Piquet, because they got Ghinzani. There is Gerhard Berger walking back, but a back marker may be just the break that Mansell will need to get past Piquet. And they're closing down on the Zach speed of Ghinzani, and if he does something a little bit unpredictable, then Nigel has to be very, very close to Piquet so that he can pounce on any problem that arises.
Lap 23, Nigel Mansell is now in the points as a result of Berger's withdrawal, and of course with Alboreto out of the picture behind the McLarens, with Berger the only man that was able to challenge them. You're looking now at Warwick there and Eddie Cheever. Eddie Cheever is in 15th place. His teammate Derek Warwick is just behind him in 16th place. They're having another scrap on the circuit, as they had in Mexico when they finished 5th and 6th. But there is Senna, who has lapped Gugelmin in the Leighton House March, and that's the race leader on lap 24. He's leading Prost by 2.8 seconds. Prost has pulled away from Boutsen a bit because the gap has increased to 6.7 seconds. And there is Nigel Mansell taking Nelson Piquet. So Nigel Mansell now is up into 5th position. We haven't mentioned tyres in this race so far, and that is because we probably won't have to be mentioning tyres, because now that the power of these turbo cars has gone down from at least 850 race horsepower last year to less than 650 race horsepower this year, the Goodyear technicians are able to produce a compound which will happily and easily last the full race. And Senna and Prost are in a position now to take things comparatively easy as far as boost is concerned. We understand that the Honda technicians have decided to limit the boost pressure of their cars, which are the McLarens and the Hondas, to 2.3 bar, whereas the maximum permissible is 2.5. And although that 0.2 may not sound very much to a lot of you, it is in fact a great deal as far as power and fuel consumption is concerned.
Yes, and as well as cutting the boost down to 2.3, they've also asked the drivers to keep their revs to a maximum of 11,000 RPM, whereas that engine is capable of going to 13,000 and is normally revved up to those fairly high speeds when they're trying to get full power out of the engine. Whoops, and oh dear, and there is Nigel Mansell with quite obviously the engine has let go, at least I would have said that. That looks very much like a blown engine, and I suspect that they were running pretty marginal on water temperature. They've still got problems with the jar, and that looks like steam coming out of the engine, so I'm afraid that is the end of the day for Nigel. What a shame, he was starting to go really well.
And the race order now on lap 31 is Senna leading, and he's about 5 seconds ahead of Alain Prost now that they've resolved the traffic problems. In 3rd position, it's Thierry Boutsen, who is the only conceivable threat at the present moment to the McLarens, and not too much of a threat at that. In 4th position, it's Michele Alboreto. In 5th position, it's Nelson Piquet. 6th, and here he is, just in the background, Philippe Streff. So the Frenchman is showing signs of getting an AGS into the points. It's only happened once before in the team's history, And that was when Roberto Moreno finished in the points. And now Streff in Australia, and Streff is going through on the inside. Yes, no, no, because Piquet takes his rightful racing line, chops off Philippe Streff, the tall Frenchman whose cars had to be specially made for him, but I think it's just a matter of time.
Oh, and here we look. This looks a bit exciting. That looks like potential wheel bumping.
And it's Derek Warwick and René Arnoux. Arnoux refusing to give way, and Derek Warwick refusing to give way. Irresistible force, immovable object, and the result is a minor coming together. And Nelson, and that's Tarquini spinning back, or rather powering back onto the circuit. It's the second time he's spun, incidentally. And now here's the battle for 5th and 6th. With Philippe Streff, and going through this time is he. Philippe Streff looked to me as though he's going through, but here's a replay of Tarquini spinning off and taking Arnoux with him, and in the background Derek Warwick was involved. So that will have split up the two arrows.
And Streff failed to get past Piquet then, which I thought he looked like he was doing it. Piquet went wide at that corner. He made a bit of a mistake, and then of course we moved back to that quite dramatic replay of spinning machinery. Derek Warwick was an innocent victim caught up from behind it, but at least managed to get going again.
Now you've coming up fast, extremely well indeed. On 7th position is Andrea De Cesaris in Real. He's just behind Streff. So we've got a great, now there they are. There's Piquet in 5th position in the Lotus Honda, Streff in the AGS Ford, and Andrea De Cesaris in the Gustav Brunner designed Real. Very pretty and very effective car. As Eddie Cheever tours into the pits. Nothing obviously wrong with his car that I can see. And that, it's Alboreto. Out goes the second Ferrari. Berger was out on lap 22, and here on lap 34, Michele Alboreto goes out. And so Ferrari will now have a cup of misery absolutely overflowing, because not only have they got political, practical, management and administrative problems at base, but both cars out of the Canadian Grand Prix. First Berger and then Michele Alboreto. Now that is a Williams in the pit. Whether it's Patrese is now into the pit. Nigel Mansell is already out, and it looks as though the second Williams is out as well. As Boutsen passes and laps the 10th place man Jonathan Palmer in the Tyrrell, and if the Fallers out go on as they are doing now, Jonathan Palmer might even finish very close up to the points. We have Nannini out of the race with fuel pressure problems, incidentally. Berger out, Nigel Mansell out, Michele Alboreto out, Riccardo Patrese out, and Senna has lapped everybody up to the 6th place man, Andrea De Cesaris. And if he stays where he is, he's going to score the first ever. But there is De Cesaris. And he's driving jolly well for Real. He's closing up now on Philippe Streff. That is Sala in the background with the new rear wing. Incidentally, the reason that Sala lost his rear wing on the first lap was because he and Julian Bailey made contact. Oh, and look at Streff. Streff freewheeling into the pits. Now that can mean a puncture, or it can mean that he's made contact with somebody, but for whatever reason, Philippe Streff's Canadian Grand Prix is being completed on lap 43. I'm sorry, there is no way he's going to get back into contention again.
Prost having a go, and yes, he hasn't lost too much time.
Not only has he not lost too much time, but I believe he's actually catching Ayrton Senna, because he looks much closer to me than he was last time I saw him. And I would be very interested to know at this stage of the race whether there is any dialogue going on between Senna and the pits and Prost in the pits about who should stay where, or whether they can go at it and race to the finish for first place.
No, they are definitely racing, and they will race all the way unless they get into serious fuel trouble, in which case they'll be instructed to slow down and not to risk running out of fuel.
And Prost has not only put up the fastest lap of the race, he has broken the lap record. 1:25.3 is 1/10 of a second faster than Nelson Piquet's 1986 lap record.
Yes, and I think that's Capelli that Modena has now caught. So Modena having a very good race indeed, and they are running in 6th and 7th places.
Just over 3 seconds is the gap between the man you're watching, race leader Ayrton Senna, and his pursuer Alain Prost. James was talking about Modena, who has yet to finish a Grand Prix because the Italian failed to finish in Brazil and San Marino, and he was excluded in Monaco, and he was excluded in Mexico for car problems, nothing to do with him. So here coming towards us is Modena, being chased by Philippe Alliot.
Yes, and Modena, if you look on the right-hand side of his car as we look at it, it looks as if the radiator pod, the ducting around the radiator has come a bit adrift, and he certainly dropped back from his battle with Capelli. Whether there was maybe some contact that caused that or not, we didn't see, because he was challenging Capelli, and as I say, he's now lost ground.
So Ayrton Senna coming up now to lap Derek Warwick, who is in 10th position. Straight past the Arrows driver he goes.
Yes, Derek wouldn't want to put the wheel much more off than that. That could have caused him a nasty little spin at that point. In his efforts to be polite and helpful, there's confirmation of Senna's new lap record, but as the race between the two McLaren drivers winds up, I wouldn't be surprised if that's going to come down further.
Ayrton Senna seems to be able to respond to anything that Prost does in terms of speeding up. He's the fastest on the circuit. And now there is Boutsen, the leading normally aspirated engine car. Into the pits comes Modena, pointing, gesticulating frantically, and Stefano Modena was in 7th position. That means that Alliot moves up a place. Hello? Somebody, oh, that's a major blow up there. Let's see who it is. It's Ghinzani. Ghinzani blows up, so Schneider failed to start the race, and on lap 67, Pier Carlo Ghinzani goes out of the Canadian Grand Prix. So Ayrton Senna within striking distance of his 2nd Grand Prix win for McLaren this year, and he joined the team at the beginning of this year. He's on his last lap. He's got a very short distance to go now to get 9 World Championship points, having proved that he can catch, pass and draw away from Alain Prost, who Prost will be by no means dissatisfied with his 2nd place. Yellow flag waving there. I don't know why, but I don't think it matters very much as far as Senna is concerned, because you can see that he is almost in sight of the checkered flag. The Brazilian flags are waving. As usual, there are an incredible number of Brazilian spectators here at the Grand Prix in Canada, and they're about to see their idol, who has taken the place of Nelson Piquet at the top of their affections, Ayrton Senna, having driven an immaculate Canadian Grand Prix, come home to victory, and he takes the checkered flag. There it is. Ayrton Senna has won. There in the background, just a few seconds behind, Alain Prost finishes in 2nd place. So victory in Canada for Ayrton Senna, with his teammate Alain Prost in 2nd place. 3rd, Thierry Boutsen. 4th and lapped Nelson Piquet, but in a sensational last lap, out went Andrea De Cesaris, out went Philippe Alliot. 5th was Ivan Capelli, and up to 6th position to get a World Championship point went Jonathan Palmer. So now Alain Prost continues to lead the World Championship by 15 points from Senna, who has moved up to 2nd. Down to 3rd goes Gerhard Berger, Piquet 4th, Alboreto 5th, in 6th position Derek Warwick, and 7th Thierry Boutsen. McLaren have increased their massive Constructors' Championship lead even further, ahead of Ferrari. Lotus are 3rd, Arrows 4th, and Benetton in 5th position.
All through the race we were on the limit, so we were pacing each other between myself and Alan, and just according with the few. And towards the end, we could make some few, and it was just enough.
Well, you're closer in the championship now, but how easy was it to pass your teammate in the race?
Well, I think sometimes Alan was managing to get away a little bit, then I was catching, and when I saw some back markers ahead, I tried to catch to be with him, just in case I had a chance with the back markers. And it came good. It worked out well.
A fine contest for the championship between the two McLaren teammates. Is this going to go on all season?
I think so. I think only Detroit would be very difficult for me then, because I don't like this race at all. And part of that is going to be a nice fight, I think, again, between Ayrton and myself. We'll see.
Happy with 6 points?
Yeah, would prefer 9, but I'm quite happy with 6, no problem.
Now for part 2 of our fabulous Silverstone competition. To mark that famous track's 40th anniversary, we're offering 6 winners a VIP day for 2 at the British Grand Prix. But for one special winner, there's a superb first prize of an all-expenses trip to the Australian Grand Prix in Adelaide. This is the famous and impressive Silverstone 40 years later. And question 2 is, how many Formula One Grand Prix have been held there since 1950, the year the World Championship began? Now, next week we'll be giving you part 3 of our competition, together with details of how to enter. And next week, of course, it is the Detroit Grand Prix. Win number 6 for McLaren? Can Ferrari get to grips with McLaren? Or could a 3.5-litre car win? Well,
Well now, highlights of today's action on court at Queen's Club, London.
If I pick up receiver and press buttons and make telephone calls, how many of my own intelligence people will be listening in?
Perkins is enjoying.
Down over northern Spain and the Alps, some heavy thunderstorms down there, and they'll be down there over the next few days as well. That's the way the chart looks. This front, a very weak feature indeed, but giving indeed some drizzle in northern and eastern districts at the moment. But it's the high pressure, this ridge of high pressure, which is going to be the main feature over the next few days. But lots of cloud is sculling round that ridge of high pressure and coming down over the British Isles. The best of the weather near the high in the south and west, and mainly dry weather over the next few days as well. But it's pretty cloudy at the moment, with a little drizzle in the north and east. Skies are clear at the moment in the southwest, but that cloud will come southwestward as we go through the night. 1 or 2 patches of fog. On the plus side, at least it's going to be a mild night. 10 Celsius is 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Most of us starting off grey tomorrow, misty in places too. Still some drizzle in some northern and eastern parts of Britain. Most of us, though, starting off dry. Some sunshine from the word go in the southwest, and as we go through the day, the cloud gradually lifting and thinning, persisting near some of these eastern coasts there, but thinning elsewhere, giving bright weather at times. The best of the sunshine tomorrow in southern and western districts, and the highest temperatures down there too. 21 Celsius is 70 Fahrenheit. Still a bit disappointing near that east coast. 15 Celsius is just 59 Fahrenheit. Inland around 18 Celsius, 64 Fahrenheit, but not too windy anywhere. And there's a summary for tomorrow and for the weekend as well. Good night.
There's a season of classic drama starting on BBC One next Thursday with a series of plays by David Mercer. On the eve of publication stars Leo McKern as an aging author tormented by his past.
I was 42 then, Emma. She asked me, "Do you know how bad it is in Hungary?" And she flung a half-eaten peach into the water.
There's disturbing humour in Let's Murder Vivaldi.
I don't hate you or anything like that. I don't even dislike you. I don't even not love you.
It's just that you become microscopic to me.
And The Parachute, a study of conflicting class attitudes in wartime Germany.
Why aren't you an officer?
Is that what you prefer?
I can smell something pretty bad about you, Rhaegar.
The only thing you can smell is your own stench.
That's the trouble with my family. Every now and then, we throw up some disastrous idiot who cares for their people. It's usually a woman. Werner inherited the trade. But I think I've done rather a good job on him. I think I can confidently assert that Werner believes in nothing.
The Parachute starts a season of outstanding drama by David Mercer next Thursday at 9:30 on BBC One.
In BBC Two's series about exiles, continuing in a few moments, the internationally known South African singer Miriam Makeba talks about her life and involvement with the anti-apartheid movement. Here on One, the Right Honourables Michael Heseltine MP, Baroness Sear and John Smith MP will join Andrew Neil and Sir Robin Day for Question Time in 50 minutes, following the 9th annual television spectacular by the American master of illusion, David Copperfield.
Good evening, I'm David Copperfield. Tonight I'm going to try the most difficult and dangerous challenge of my career. We're on Alcatraz Island, a fortress of stone and steel that has been called the only escape-proof prison in the world. Of all the men who've tried to escape, at least a dozen have died or disappeared in the freezing shark-infested waters. Tonight, I'm going to put myself to the test as I attempt to escape from Alcatraz.
Jillian. For the past 9 years, I've watched with you as David Copperfield has amazed the whole world with his legendary illusions. Last year, David traveled halfway around the globe to astound us as he walked through the Great Wall of China. The first of his spectacular illusions had us on the edge of our seats as he vanished a jet airplane completely surrounded by a ring of spectators. And millions tuned in along with a live audience on Liberty Island to witness the largest illusion ever performed as David Copperfield made the Statue of Liberty disappear. But it's not only the grand illusions that we see on television that keep us mesmerized. David's theatricality and flair for the dramatic are equally evident on the legitimate stage. And coming from a Broadway background myself, I can guarantee you that what you witness here tonight in front of a live audience with no camera tricks is the perfect example of what happens when the master of illusion blends the drama of theater with the mystery of magic. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. David Copperfield.
The Table of Death. 1,300 pounds of steel and spikes connected to a single rope. In a few moments, I'll be here, chained and handcuffed to the table below the spikes. The only thing holding up those spikes is this rope. But this rope is going to be set on fire. It takes 90 seconds for the rope to burn through. I'll have 90 seconds to make my escape before this. I need a volunteer from the audience. Actually, I need 2 volunteers, and we have them from the Los Angeles Police Department. Hello, gentlemen. Why don't you step around the table, help me remove the box. Once the box is off, Examine the spikes. Make sure they're solid, that they don't break away, that they're sharp. Again, the rope will be set on fire with this torch. 90 seconds later, the rope will burn through and the spikes will fall. Examine the spikes. They look good to you?
Solid as a rock.
We've also examined these handcuffs or chains. How did you find them to be?
These are real handcuffs.
Put them on.
David is being locked in regulation police handcuffs and leg shackles. Locks have been sealed with wax to prevent them from being opened even by a key.
Is everything secure?
Secure.
Thank you both very much.
You're welcome.
David is being locked to the table by 15 feet of tempered steel chain. The chain is being threaded through the rings welded to the table, and then is locked to the floor with padlocks. The leg shackles are secure. Steel chain padlocked to the floor. The sealed handcuffs are locked around his wrists. Once the torch starts burning through the rope, he'll be on a 90-second race with death.
One of the great things about doing a show like this is to come out here and just, Webster. This is my pet duck, Webster. Come here, Web. He's jogging. He flies. Look at that head action. He flies backwards. We found that Webster here, stop that. We found that Webster here has a brand new talent that we never knew about. We found that Webster is a death-defying duck. Are you ready, Webster? Webster swallows swords. Eats razor blades. Webster wrestles alligators. Thanks a lot, Duck. I see. We're going to have to prove to you that Webster is a death-defying duck. Webster will be blasted out of this cannon through this ring of paper into this empty cage of brass. He will do this without a net. He might do it with Frankie Avalon, but he won't do it with a net. You're very kind. Get in, Webb. He loves this. I got an idea. Let's bank him in. Doing magic and escapes requires the same kind of physical training and mental discipline that it takes to become a dancer. Things that look very simple often take years of practice and complete concentration. The next illusion is just such a piece. Because of the danger involved, it took me 2 years to master what you're about to see. We call it On the Edge.
David has asked me to stress to you that what you just saw was a very dramatic illusion. And I emphasize the word illusion, a stunning effect created by sophisticated magical technology. It also contains a tremendous degree of danger, and no attempt to recreate this or other effects should even be considered. David felt it necessary to tell you this because tonight, you're going to witness his most daring illusion ever. David Copperfield is going to attempt to escape from Alcatraz.
Thank you very much. I need to find a lady from the audience tonight, and I'm going to do that by throwing this rose 3 times. I'm going to throw it the first time. Whoever catches it will throw it again, and then whoever catches it that time will throw it one more time. The lady closest to the rose will help me with this next experiment. Here we go. Good. Give it a throw. Go for distance. Incredible distance there. Go ahead, any direction you want. Good job. Okay, I guess the lady in the pink. Come right this way. Come right this way. Give her a big hand as she comes up here. Hello. What is your name?
My name's Rachel.
Rachel, have we ever met before?
No, we haven't.
You sure?
I'm sure.
$10,000 to anybody that can prove that what you're about to see is being accomplished with any prearrangement or setup between Rachel and myself. We've not met before, right?
That's right.
Come with me. Rachel, I have a blackboard back here. It's covered with a piece of fabric, but I've written something on it I don't want you to see just yet. But I'm going to leave it in full view, covered, hanging there in the air. Rachel, all I ask you to do is sit down right here and look straight at me. I know that's tough. And think of any city in the entire world. It doesn't have to be a major city, just any city whatsoever. What is it?
Waukegan.
Waukegan? Okay. Now, in your vision, in Waukegan, what month is it in Waukegan?
December.
December in Waukegan. Now, imagine for a second that you and I are on a date. In Waukegan in December. What is our activity? What are we doing? Actually, what are you wearing first?
Fur coat.
A fur coat? That's it? And what else?
Boots. And
Boots? What color boots?
black.
Black boots. Okay, a fur coat and black boots. We'll leave it just there. And on our date, what is our activity? What are we doing? Keep it clean.
We're taking a walk along the lake.
We're taking a walk along the lake. Okay. And what's the name of the lake?
Michigan.
Lake Michigan? In Waukegan. Okay. That makes sense. And at the end of our date, we kiss goodnight. What is the address where we kiss goodnight? What are the numbers?
95.
95. Name of the street.
Jackson.
95 Jackson Street. Give me your hand. Now, Rachel, we have not met before, right?
That's right.
And we haven't set this up. And in fact, no one spoke to you before the show to set this up, right?
Right.
In fact, you were selected by a rose which was thrown around the audience. It could have landed anywhere. It landed right by you. You're probably thinking that you came up with what you thought of over there, independent from me, that I had nothing to do with it, right?
Right.
Well, the fact of the matter is I did have something to do with it. Before the show, I also had a vision of my own. I wrote it down on this blackboard, and I've been attempting to send that image to you. You believe me? Oh, yeah? Would you like me to prove it to you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, come over here. It was Waukegan in December. I met a girl in a fur coat with black boots. We were taking a walk along Lake Michigan, and we kissed goodnight at 95 Jackson Street. the great things about doing a show like this is to connect. Webster, you're not supposed to be out here on stage, Webster. You can't just come walking out here whenever you feel like it. You do this every show you come out here on stage like this. We're going to have to teach you a lesson. Do we have it? Well, bring it out here, bring it out here. I'm very lucky because I just happened to bring along with me today my duck-o-matic. It's a duck buster. Get in, Webb. Duck, duck. Notice the rollers in the front? Parts is parts. Time to go on a kid hunt. What is your name?
Matthew.
Matthew? You married?
No.
Matthew, would you like to learn how to become a magician?
No.
Perfect, Matt, perfect. Come with me, Matt. Stand right here, because we're going to dress you up like one anyway. Put these on, head up, good. That's a dickie. Got my old coat, put it on. One sleeve, wrong sleeve, there you go. Other sleeve, good, nice fit, Matt. Got this hat for you, Matt. Head up, big smile, good, now. Good, now. Matt, if you want to learn how to be a magician, you got to think about a lot of things. It's not just tricks, Matt, it's show business. Show business. Look out there. Think. Bright lights. A little brighter, Matt. Good. Think. Music. You got soul, Matt. Now think of the two things you'd like to have around you more than anything else in the whole wide world. I like the way you think, Matt. Hey, Matt, you like show business, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's time to move into the illusions, Matt. This is an illusion, Matt. This is the box. When I was your age, this is the box I used to produce little girlfriends for myself in. And it's absolutely positively empty. Check it out, Matt, check it out. Get back over there, Matt. Good. Stay there. I'm going to close up the box, but don't touch the door, okay? Stay there. Don't move. Don't touch the door. Very important the box remains shut for this trick to work. Because one of the great things about doing a show like this, to come out here and just, Matt, maybe you didn't understand. Don't touch the box, okay? Stay there, don't move. Don't touch the box. Very important the box remains shut. You know, stay there, don't move. Stay there, don't touch the box. Very important the box remains shut for this trick to work. Because one of the great things about doing a show like this, to come out here and just... Wipe that smile off your face, Matt. Matt, I'll tell you what, Matt, here, give me your hands. I want you to put a hand here. Put a hand right here, good. Put another hand right here, good, freeze. Very important the box remains shut for this trick to work. Because one of the great things about doing a show like this, to come out here and just... He broke my box. Matt, you broke my box. I'll tell you what, Matt, I got an idea. Why don't you step inside the box? Go ahead, step inside the box. Go ahead, see if you can fix it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very lucky because I just happened to bring along with me today my boy-o-matic. It's a kid buster. Matt, what do you think about that, Matt? Well, Mr. Copperfield, I think you're the greatest magician I've ever seen in my life. Thanks, Matt. Matt. Where's Matt's mom? Now, who in the audience would like to see Matt and Webster restored to their three-dimensional selves? Now, who in the audience would like to see Matt and Webster remain flat as a pancake for the rest of their lives? Why was Matt's mom applauding? The most inescapable prison in the world. Tonight, for the first time ever, I'm going to try the challenge that no criminal mind was able to overcome. Using techniques of magic and illusion, with no camera tricks, I'm going to attempt to escape from Alcatraz. Inside those walls were the most dangerous criminals the world has ever known. Al Capone, Machine Gun Kelly. They were a breed of lawbreaker that couldn't be held by an ordinary prison. The best escape artists the world has ever known. And in Alcatraz, they met their escape-proof match. 7 men died and 5 disappeared trying to get off this island. But no one ever escaped from Alcatraz. Alcatraz became a national recreation area after its closing in 1964. But for 29 years, it maintained a perfect record as the most escape-proof prison on Earth. I've invited a committee of former Alcatraz correctional officers to join me here tonight, in addition to officers currently employed at other prisons around the country. Their job is to inspect the prison and to verify that the bars, the cells, the prison itself is still as escape-proof as it ever was. This is Frank Heaney, a correctional officer here from 1948 to 1951. He guarded over the likes of Machine Gun Kelly and Robert Stroud, the Birdman of Alcatraz. Frank, who stayed in that particular cell?
Alvin Creepy Carpets, Public Enemy #1.
Who caught him?
J. Edgar Hoover, former director of the FBI.
He caught him himself?
Yes, he did, personally.
Now, how is that cell constructed? What is it made of?
Well, the walls are made out of 8-inch concrete. The dimensions are 5 by 7 by 9. The bars are made out of tool-resistant steel.
Meaning what?
Meaning that if you took a blade and started to cut through, there's a round bar inside that would slide back and forth, so it's impossible to get through.
Now, supposing an inmate had a key inside, would he be able to get out?
No, he wouldn't. There are no locks on these doors.
How are they controlled?
By the control center at the other end.
Closed, I see. What are they doing now? They're putting a bar around the cell door.
Yes, they're putting up a steel bar to make sure that the doors cannot slide open.
So even if you pulled the lever there, what would happen to the door?
The door would jam, and it'll be even be tighter than it is right now. It'd be impossible to get through.
The correctional officers will follow me with these remote-controlled cameras. They've been placed along my only possible path to freedom. There are cameras mounted in the hallways, the cutoff areas, and even behind me in this cell. The officers will be watching from these monitors outside the prison. We've also invited a live audience to join the officers outside the prison to witness my attempt to escape. In addition, there's a handheld camera and a helicopter prepared to do an aerial search of the island. If I'm able to escape from the prison itself, this camera will go up in the helicopter and try to trap me from above. To make it a little tougher, they've also brought their dogs. These two attack Dobermans. They have been trained to my scent and will have a free run of the island. My final goal is to get past the officers and dogs outside and completely off the island. Now, to give me a little extra motivation, I've asked the Department of the Interior for permission to place timed explosives throughout the prison. They agreed with a few conditions. One being that the UC Berkeley police bomb squad set the explosives so that there would be no structural damage to the prison itself. This is Leroy Pereira of the police bomb squad. Sir, what did you bring with you?
Dave, as you know, we brought a large quantity of high explosive attached to blasting caps and timers.
Well, what are they capable of doing?
Well, we have set up a demonstration in another part of the prison. You'll see that the explosion won't destroy the bars or concrete, but anything living in a close proximity will be killed by the bomb.
Now, I know a lot of people at home will probably think that these explosives are fake or that they're a special effect. So tell them, please, what you brought.
We brought real explosives.
Now, there was one other condition we had to meet to use these explosives. It was insisted upon that I had a way of stopping the detonation. If I should get trapped, I can defuse the explosion and stop the timer by pushing this button. Although I appreciate everyone's concern for my welfare, I'm going to try my best not to go anywhere near that button. Now, gentlemen, have you examined that straitjacket thoroughly?
Yes, I have.
Is it unusual in any way?
Nothing I can see, no.
This straitjacket is made of triple-stitch canvas with straps and buckles riveted and sewn down the back. The sleeves are sewn shut at the ends. Gentlemen, strap me in as tightly as possible. Okay. Yes, that's tight. Now, while they do that, I'm going to review what I have to accomplish here tonight. First, free myself from the straitjacket and escape from the cell before the explosives go off in 3 minutes. Then I'll go through a locked cutoff area with the second explosive set to go off in 6 minutes. From there, I'll have to make my way through a storage room with the third timed explosive set to detonate in 7 minutes. If I get that far, I'll need to go through the door, past the correctional officers and dogs outside, and escape completely off the island. Gentlemen, are the straps as tight as possible?
Yes, they are.
Let me show. Now, you've examined the prison. Did you find any way that I can escape from Alcatraz?
Absolutely impossible, David.
For those of you at home, if it makes you feel comfortable to think that my attempt to escape from Alcatraz is just a TV movie, or that the explosives that the bomb squad brought are just special effects, that's fine. But the guards and the audience outside will attest to the fact that these bars are real. This straitjacket is real. And the explosives that the bomb squad brought are very real and very dangerous. All of my escapes will be accomplished without the aid of video trickery. Many men have risked their lives attempting to escape from Alcatraz. Tonight, it's my turn. Start the timers.
3 minutes to first detonation. There are 2 minutes and 30 seconds to first detonation. 2 minutes to second detonation. Detonation. There are 45 seconds to third detonation.
Doing there?
Not doing anything.
30 seconds to third.
He's just standing there next to the bomb.
Let's get him out.
Let's go. Let's go.
20 seconds to third detonation. 15 seconds to third detonation.
Stay back. Everybody stay back. David, third bomb.
10 seconds to third detonation.
Get the door open. Get the door open. Get in there.
5,
Of the bomb now.
3, 2. Explosive disarmed.
Should we go in there and grab him? Keep the camera on. Keep the camera on him. He's not going anywhere.
Good night. See you next year.
Omnibus tomorrow looks at the controversial later work of Pablo Picasso. Living as a virtual recluse in his old age, the paintings he produced were originally criticized as pornographic and the result of senility. But gradually their inventiveness, color,
Mork has the right to have a lawyer. I will not permit him to be on trial without counsel.
I'm his lawyer. The court appointed me.
Young lady, this is an informal situation, but I assure you no one is trying to railroad anyone.
May I ask just one little question?
Oh, why not?
The question is, Mork is innocent. True. He is different from most, but this great country was built on the rights of individuals to be individuals. I mean, we have the God-given right to be eccentric, and therefore I demand that Mork be exonerated and set free.
I suggest you sit down. We're hearing the testimony of Dr. Litney.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She's sorry.
Dr. Litney, if we may continue. What was your conclusion after examining the defendant?
Your Honor, my conclusions are that the patient is extremely childlike and incapable of learning. He has also exhibited marked antisocial behavior. Therefore, it is my opinion that the defendant is incompetent to function in society.
No more questions.
No questions.
You have to ask questions. Mork, don't let them do this to you. You don't know what it means.
I have a vague idea. I saw a rerun of Perry Mason last night and Inherit the Wind.
Since there are no more witnesses...
Your Honor, I salute you. Nanu, nanu. Your Honor, in your law, is it true that I have a right to speak for myself?
Well, yes.
Dr. Litney. You don't like me, do you?
Your Honor, I have never been interrogated by a patient before.
Then how do you know I'm doing it now? You said I exhibited antisocial behavior. Why?
Well, first of all, you wouldn't tell me where you were from.
And you neither.
That's not my job.
It's not mine either.
Yeah, we're even.
Now, about these tests you ran that made you hate me.
Your Honor, I don't hate this man. But yesterday, during one of my tests, he tried to put a square peg into a round hole.
But I did it, Your Honor.
He did. He did. I don't know how he did it, but I can't get the peg out now, and it ruined a perfectly good board.
And that's why you dislike me, Dr. Litney. I can sense that.
Your Honor, I don't have time for this, really.
Oh, the time? Excuse me. It's 10:36, exactly.
You see, Your Honor, he's wearing a wristwatch on his ankle.
No, Your Honor, I'm wearing an ankle watch on my ankle. If I was wearing an ankle watch on my wrist, then I'd be crazy.
Your Honor, you see he's a wiseacre.
And you don't like wiseacres, do you, Dr. Litney?
No, I don't.
And that's why you're prejudiced against me.
I didn't say that. You see how he's cleverly twisting my words, Your Honor?
Oh, so you're calling me clever now, Dr. Litney. Isn't that another word for intelligent? So you see, Your Honor, doesn't this case hinge on my ability to learn?
Yes, it does, Your Honor. And by the way, he flunked his word association test outright yesterday. That's the test where I give him words like
white,
black,
tall,
short,
sky,
birds,
sex,
Pamela.
You said you'd never tell.
Oh.
Never tell, never
man, Litney! I thought we were... Your Honor, I have a patient to take care of in a short while. Would you excuse me?
No, he's not going anywhere without me.
Justice.
Hannibal! Your Honor! Your Honor, the defense rests.
While it's true that the defendant may add a new dimension to the word eccentric, there is no law against that. And since it appears he's no danger to himself or society, and we no longer have a prosecutor or a witness or anyone to write this down, case dismissed.
We won! You won!
Mork and Mindy, the series of half-hour adventures, begins next Wednesday at 5:30.
Stay in, switch on and catch up with a real cool cookie.
Hi, I'm Steve Winwood. Be sure to tune into Wired this week when you can hear some of my new album.
And take up In Excess.
So slide over here and give me a moment. I've got to let you know. I've got to let you know. You're one of my kind.
It's kind of good. It's Wired.
Next is Wednesday evening, what counts as team spirit, especially when it comes to those family ties.
My name's Coco, I'm a monkey like you. I live in the jungle, not in the zoo. I lived on leaves when there weren't any shops, but I'd rather have a bowl of Cocoa Pops, oh yeah. Kellogg's Cocoa Pops taste so chocolatey, they even turn the milk brown, so I'd rather have a bowl of Cocoa Pops.
Bird's fruit mousse now gets closer to nature by using real fruit. Closer still by capturing that tangy taste. We looked even closer to see if there was anything else you need to add. Ah yes, just water and no artificial colors or preservatives. Bird's fruit mousse. Closer to nature.
I don't need to put anything on my face because I tan naturally. You know what I mean? Not that I
Hi there, Shrimp. A mighty white tuna sandwich, please. A mighty white tuna sandwich, please.
What is it with everyone in this mighty white bread? Soft wheat and rye grains. Big deal.
And 30% more fibre than ordinary white.
Right tasty mighty white. It's mightier than the average white.
Has he gone yet?
Right, it's this way. No, this way.
No.
No, you got to outside the field. The bitches behind the farmhouse. Right, that... What's that? She's eating chocolate.
It's Ballisto.
Ballisto?
Yeah, Ballisto's different. It's not just chocolate, and it's mine.
New Ballisto has today's great tastes. Light wheatmeal biscuit, honey and almonds or muesli, wrapped in delicious milk chocolate.